Huge, man. Okay, shalom, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to another class. Sword of Truth, San Antonio. We want to first of all give a shout out to all the brothers and sisters in San Antonio and getting this word out. Give a lot of props and shout out to the people in Houston, ISBHPK, teaching. They're actually teaching now online. The brothers and sisters out there in Virginia, they're teaching. They teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they rotate with Houston teaching Fridays, and they rotate. Matter of fact, no, they do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and they rotate on Saturdays. Anyway, and our class times are, let me get this right. Our class times Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7:30 to 10 p.m. and Saturdays 10 till whenever, till class is over.
Come.
And like I said, feel free to check us out online, or it's the truth is, if you guys can make it to class, the energy is a little different. There's a lot more of a connection when you actually get a chance to see people face to face. So I advise anybody in whatever city you are, if you can get to an actual location, get to it. If you can't, that's all we have the internet for. Okay. Shalom, everybody online. What's going on?
Shalom, yeah.
Well, today we go over a topic that a lot of Israelites in particular, I think they kind of shy from the idea of dealing with mental health, depression, what do you call it, bipolarism, all these different issues that deal with the mind. A lot of times, especially with Israelite males, dealing with these issues kind of comes off like we're weak, kind of comes off like we're not tough enough. But the reality is, when you come into the knowledge of serving the Most High, it's important to even understand that certain issues that we deal with on a mental and an emotional level can be managed spiritually. Okay. Now, I am not a doctor. I do not have a doctorate or a PhD in whatever medical science. So I'm not going to sit back here and say that all medical issues shouldn't be treated with some type of a medicine. But I can tell you this, if I was in a situation where I had mental imbalances and issues with my psyche, I would try to get a remedy spiritually and scripturally first before I resort to any type of medication. Okay? Because what we're going to explain and how we're going to explain class today is that a lot of mental issues are spiritually rooted. And if you're dealing with a spiritual issue, then the remedy is dealing with scriptures, counsel, communication. There's ways to deal with therapy on a spiritual side when you're dealing with mental issues, outlook issues, depression issues, emotional anxiety issues. Okay? And a lot of times we don't deal with this as a nation because we got to tough it out. Even in my youth in the nation of Israel, we didn't deal with these type of mental issues because we were kind of just pushed to just suck it up. We were being weak. We were being effeminate. That was spoken of a lot to Israel when you were going through things. But it's important that we start to bring some light to how to deal with mental illness and mental outlooks and the fluctuations of our mindset. Okay, and for that reason, we're going to go into class today. So the first verse we're going to go into, and we got the light popping. It's popping hot today. First verse we're going to go into is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14 through 16. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14 through 16. And we're dealing with how to manage depression, mental health issues. Okay. So, once again, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14 through 16. I'm Matthew. Let's get this started.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices but uncertain.
Let's start off at verse 13.
Verse 13.
Let's go to 13, because 13 is a better start to this, I would say. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 13.
For what man is he that can know the counsel of the Most High? Or who can think what the will of the Lord is?
That is the million-dollar question. That's why we come to class every day. That's why we study. That's why we go and check our YouTube shows out. That's why we study on our own. We counsel. We do all these different endeavors so we can try to get an insight on what the counsel of the Heavenly Father is. Or to be specific, how does the Most High think? And that's why we come to class, because a lot of times we come to class bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and with all the hopes in the world that we can conquer the world and do great things. But in actuality, we don't have the first clue on what it takes to please him. And how we know we don't know how it takes to please him, look at the results of our action. We do things on our own. When we sit back here and trust how we think, when we trust how we process things, look at what happens. Look at the results. Look at the ups and downs and the roller coasters that we have in our life, because we choose our thinking, we choose our psyche, and we choose how we process things on a daily basis. So for the simple fact of looking at our personal lives, you could tell that, hey, we don't know what the hell we're doing. Okay? So once again, the purpose of coming to class is to learn how to think like the Most High, to process things like the Most High wants us to process things. Because that's the only way you can really get blessed. You can't sit back here and get blessed serving the Most High by taking his information, digesting it, looking at it a different way, and applying it in a way that benefits you. That's not how the formula works properly for us. So read verse 14 again.
For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable.
The thoughts of mortal men are miserable. What starts our emotional and mental decline are the thoughts that we feed. The thoughts that we give ourselves to is the end all be all of our sickness. When you're sitting back here on a day-to-day basis, how many times are you telling yourself you can get through it? I love my life. I've accepted my life. I've accepted my condition. Or your thoughts every day, I can't do it. This is hard. This is difficult. Why am I going through this? I'm tired. I'm always tired. Mm-hmm. How many positive thoughts can you safely say that you can manufacture or muster up hour to hour, minute to minute, day to day, versus how easily it is to feed negative and to meditate on negative and to ponder on negativity? Or to be specific, negativity means the worst in things. When he says the thoughts of man are miserable, do you choose to see that the glass is half full or is it half empty? How are you wired? How do you process things? Because depending on how you look at life, how you look at your condition, how you look at your life, will start to lay the foundations of your mental health, of how upbeat you can be. Okay? So he's telling you the nature of man is to look at things in the worst possible light. And that's where we have to start. If we want to find out how to stay mentally healthy, we have to find out why we're all so mentally unhealthy. It's almost like we have to sit back here and be in the scriptures for more than just 1 or 2 days, or you're going to start losing it. I know most of the time I see people, they'll get class, and now luckily we're on YouTube. It's almost like you got to have class here, and then you got to go home and re-go over it, re-study it, reread it, re-listen to it. Why? Because in other classes, the scripture says that the word is like water, and that word baptizes us, that word cleans us. Why would our mind need to be cleansed so often? Why would our mind need to be cleansed so consistently? Because as soon as you clean it now, guess what happens? Have you ever experienced this? I know I had, especially when I was young, in the truth. You could be in class and you feel like you could run through a wall, bro. You feel like puro strong. You feel like, man, I am invincible. I can do anything. And then 2 hours later, you have the worst thoughts in the world after this. After class is over and the high, the emotional high, the spiritual high kind of wears off, what do you do within? Those same bubble thoughts kick in again. Those same sick thoughts, those same depressing thoughts, those same thoughts that press and wear you down keep working on. Has anybody experienced that? Or how long can you sustain the positive energy you get from being around class and being around a group of people who are trying to inspire you to be good? How long can you sustain it? I see people chuckling in the background here because And at least you're being honest, because these are the facts. It's hard to maintain a pure outlook. It's hard to maintain the ability to see the good in things. And because of that, we're having to diagnose the issue. Our thoughts are miserable. How we look at things is miserable. We always look at things worst case scenario, doom and gloom, the sky's falling. And it's very difficult for our people to see the good in their lives, to see the good in their condition, to see the growth in their situation. And that's the start of the mental sickness, the mental imbalance. Because when you're dealing with mental health, you're dealing with an imbalance.
Esau calls it a chemical imbalance, but it's a spiritual imbalance.
Exactly.
Because can I come to this point?
Please.
And because what you're dealing with, are your thoughts flesh based, or your thoughts spirit based? You are based off of two different substances. Substance number one, scripture, spirit, will, the Most High, God's energy, thought energy, intellect. That's the spiritual realm, right? That's a mental/spiritual realm. You can't physically quantify it, but it's there because you're not a piece of meat walking around, right? The second element of yourself is that physical element, right? That physical needs, impulses, desires, emotions, addiction, habit. Those are flesh-based situations. That's a flesh-based inclination, correct? So the question is your thought flesh-based or spirit-based? And once you find out what are you 70 to 80% flesh focused and 20% spiritual focused, then you know where your thoughts come from. Or are you 80% spiritually connected and focused, and then you're 20% flesh focused, and the 20% of your negative in life and stress and problems come from that 20% amount of flesh that you carry.
But the thing is, if it was an 80-20 situation, you wouldn't have mood swings.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have a lot of these variations in mindset if you were 80% scriptural foundation based and 20% flesh. It wouldn't be that way. But
Yep.
because our mind fluctuates so easily, I could be driving down the street and I can see something on a billboard. I can see something on the street, and all of a sudden my mindset changes, my mentality changes, my mood changes, my day changes, and it shows us how frail and how fragile our psyche is.
Yeah.
Read verse 14 again, sir.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 14. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices but uncertain.
He says our devices are but uncertain. What does the devices mean?
Whatever you choose to remedy your thoughts. Your
Exactly. Your methods. Your coping mechanisms are uncertain. Your coping mechanisms are what you use to overcome what's in you. Your coping mechanisms are what you use to maintain outlook.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in the world, what's the world's coping mechanisms to problems?
Ice cream.
It's food, it's drugs, it's sex.
Music.
Ice cream wouldn't have been the first answer that I would have thought about. That almost sounds over like personal experience there. You should have just said the brand of ice cream. Just to sit back here and be that much clearer. Rocky Road,
Haagen-Dazs.
That's it out loud. That's it out loud. Strawberry, strawberry.
Strawberry.
Oh man,
You can't lose that.
That's hilarious.
Some people choose music.
Well, it's music. They'll do music.
Music is very emotional.
But then that's the problem. The music will sit back here, will take your mind in many different places. And a lot of times you'll be playing music and sit back here and want to do things you weren't intending to do 30 minutes before that. Listen, I always say this. I can't listen to Dog Pound for more than 3 songs, man. DPG, old Dog Pound.
DPG.
Those dudes were so negative. That music, that energy that came from those dudes, that West Coast rap, bro. I'm driving. I'm like, damn, do I really want to set trip today? Do I really want to sit back here and take risk? Sometimes you listen to music, you just want to take risk after that. Why I want to take risk all of a sudden? Well, I got to cut this off.
What would you do?
Yeah, that's my song. What'd you do?
Listen, man.
My crew.
Nah, man, that should get you like, you really want to think about set tripping a little bit. Like your fingers start doing this.
It's like, what's happening? What's happening to my hands?
What's happening?
I don't like certain colors. Certain colors I don't like anymore.
I'm extreme in that point, but you get my point. when you sit back here,
There's an influence out.
whatever you keep around you is going to sway your influence in your mind to a certain degree. And he's telling us that the way we handle things, the way we handle stress, our devices, our methods are uncertain. And when we sit back here and we use the wrong devices or solutions deal with our problem, then what ends up happening? The issues get worse and worse and worse. The issues get worse and worse and worse, and we get out of control. We get out of control, and you look up and you sinned. You made a mistake. And now whatever feeling took you a certain direction, now you feel worse. Now you have remorse behind the mistake and guilt.
Oh.
So what we're trying to go into today is how to overcome depression, how to overcome these emotions before these emotions turn into greater problems. Suicide attempts, how to sit back here and overcome that extreme sadness that makes people do extreme things to counter the feeling.
Stress in relationships, stress,
and that's the
connections.
point. And this is
Burn
why
bridges.
it's so important that we sit back here and scripturally, first of all, what we're going to do today is kind of paint out the delusions, paint out how the depression and these emotions start. Okay, so continue in verse 15.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 15. For the corruptible body presses down the soul.
The corruptible body presses down the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Most High is showing you there is literal a spiritual battle, fighting for who controls and dominates your mind. The spiritual body, or the corruptible body, presses down on the spirit. Read on.
And the earthly tabernacle weighed down the mind that museth upon many things.
Museth means to look. To look around. So what he's saying is, he says the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind. The flesh weighs down the mind. The impulses weigh down the mind. Why do you think that advertising is so important? And why Esau relies on the imagery from advertising so much? Because he understands psychological studies. If you put something in front of somebody long enough, they're going to desire it. Either through music, through imagery. These are the things that kill us. These are the things that start to take us away. A lot of times, we don't even know our minds being worked on until we actually, why do I feel like doing this right now? But what you didn't realize, you watched this thing on TV, sparked your attention. You watched this, you heard this thing on the radio. You heard this type of music. You sat back here and you saw something on the internet, on your phone, and all of a sudden your whole day is different. Your whole mindset is different. Your whole mood is different.
Because everything has an effect. So what you eat physically, you can feel that physical effect in your body within an hour. Can you not?
Yep. Earlier than that.
The Most High has, you can tell.
Listen, I felt that Bill Miller's 10 minutes after I ate it, man.
God.
It was a bad choice.
God.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
And so knowing that, whatever you intellectually feast on, what you feed your mind,
Spiritually,
what you
feast
give
on.
your mind on, whatever you eat in your mind, whatever you give your consume in your mind, you consume with your thoughts, it's going to have an effect on you. You can see with children. We got to use adults. We can simply use children. When you have children watch a certain cartoon, how they act at that cartoon. They watch some ninja fighters. What they want to do after the show's over?
Kick butt.
They want to kick, but they want a ninja fight, right?
Chia!
Boom. If they watch Daffy Duck and I guess Looney Tunes, I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long
That's old
time.
school, man.
How do they act after that? I guess real silly, or however their favorite character acts, they model the behavior of their favorite character.
But I like going into the adults because, everybody in class is the adult. And listen, you can sit back here and get on Instagram. All of a sudden, your mind changes.
Come on.
You sit back here. Don't get Snapchat, bro. Don't get Snapchat. Don't sit all these Twitter, all these different, those short bursts of lust and
Folly.
spirit. It just takes your mind somewhere. You watch World Star too much. What's happening, huh? Listen, you watch World Star, all of a sudden, you done lost brain cells watching World Star too much. World Star, you seeing somebody do something ignorant, somebody fight, and all of a sudden, it's crazy when you see that foolishness, it just takes your guard down.
Come on. It normalizes the gasity.
That's a good word, negacity, versus saying what you really want to say. But The point is this: all these different things around you
Come.
lower your senses, lower your, I guess your what do you call it? I want to say I'm trying to find the right word. It lowers your, it's defenses, your spiritual defenses. And what ends up happening, you look up and entertaining weakness becomes a little
It desensitizes
easier.
us. Huh?
It desensitizes us to actually fighting your battle. Because in order to truly sustain strength, you have to stay in a fighting strong posture.
Yeah.
If I'm going to stay in a strong mindset, I have to always be in alert. How any of y'all like had to walk home from school and you had to always look out for bullies or stray dogs or anything crazy, huh? Stray dogs is for real, dude. Or watch out for like some cats maybe trying to catch you slipping on certain sides of town.
Yeah.
You're always like this.
Esau them trucks out.
You're always like this.
God.
Why? Because you have to make sure there's nothing around the corner that might get you. You have to always be looking to make sure nothing's going to attack you. But this is no different in the spiritual realm. It's telling you in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 9 and verse 15, the corruptible body presses down the spirit and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind. You have to understand this world was created to wear your mind down. Whatever you're weakest at, if I'm weak to lust, then guess what's going to happen? All I'm going to see is lust around. If I'm weak to lust, this world is designed, there is lust everywhere you turn. There is something to feed that indulgence.
Come.
If you are a person that lacks confidence, then there's going to be things around here that work on your lack of confidence.
Inflaming security.
If you have issues with self-confidence, self-worth, then there's plenty of things around you to tell you that you're not good enough. So once again, you've got to understand that everything around you is designed to weaken you, which is why it's so important. I have to be on alert. We all have to be on alert enough to not let these outside influences start to break us down. I counseled a person a few days ago. I said, hey, man, you need to get off the internet. You need to get off Twitter. You need to get off Instagram. And the look I got was like, bite your tongue, man. I got a bite your tongue look. Like, you are tripping. I am not getting off that dope. Because the truth be told, Instagram, Twitter, oh, that's dope, man. That's a different form of drugs. Because you're going to get attention from that arena. You're going to sit back here and stimulate your mind differently. I don't know if you notice, for people this internet generation, it's hard to sit back and just read regular books, isn't it? It's easy to sit back and read some blog or some crap online. It's harder to discipline your mind just to read books, read scriptures, slow your mind down, and just block out distractions. Those distractions are what's gunning to weaken you. It's gunning to break you down. It's gunning to diminish you and soften you up to where you will fall. And all of a sudden, once my defenses are down, now I break. Now my outlook goes crazy. Now I'm spiraling out of control. I'm high, I'm low, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm out of control. Then I have to fall to rock bottom before I reset. And it happens like that every few weeks, every few months. You're only on a spiritual high because you were here yesterday. You were at rock bottom. Now I got to be a super brew to get back on top. But I can't sustain my super brewness, so I end up falling flat again. Because we don't know how to sit back and just every day fight what's inside of you. Every day fight what's inside of you. Every day work to be steady. We'll go into it more. Read verse 16.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 9 verse 16. And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon earth.
Hardly do we guess right the things that are upon the earth. Hardly do we sit back here and choose the right influence to bring close to us. Hardly do we choose to push away this influence and this impulse and keep this impulse close to me. Listen, in order to stay strong, in order to stay positive, in order to stay at peace with yourself and in your life, you have to be willing to cut off so many different influences.
Toxic influence.
So many different, but the problem is we don't a lot of times recognize what's toxic. We don't recognize what influence is toxic. We don't recognize what feelings that I give my mind to are toxic. I don't a lot of times realize what I guess people I surround myself around are toxic. And because of that, I keep going back to the wrong people, the wrong influences, and after I deal with them, I start to diminish again. Because everything about staying strong, everything about staying spiritual is about creating and maintaining momentum. Being spiritually minded, being strong minded, being pure minded is today that I get weak. Today that I give in to my thoughts. Great. Tomorrow, guess what I have to do? I can't give in to my thoughts. We're so focused as a people. We'll tell ourselves, I don't want to sin, right? But we don't sit back here and focus on the triggers that lead to sin. We don't focus on eliminating the triggers. And because we don't eliminate the triggers, those triggers are what get us to the point where we're so weak and we're so vulnerable that we just give in. That we just quit. That we just say, forget it. Most likely want to forgive me. How many times you say that? You know you're about to sin. Most times you want to forgive me, man. I'm going in. That happens because I've allowed these outlooks in my mentality to just go everywhere.
It's a compound, yeah.
You have to understand that your mind is like a house. And I'm just going to go into it later, but your mind is like a house. And you have to choose what thoughts enter into your house. Do you look at your mind and your spirit like that? Because if you allow any thought to knock on the door and come in, guess what happens? Now you're getting out of balance. And when you're getting out of balance, then who's going to run the asylum? Is it an inmate runs the asylum? The inmates running? You got 15, 20 different thoughts in your head, impulses and feelings. You don't control your vessel anymore. You don't control your spirit
That's
anymore.
the whole point.
And that's why a person goes through the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs. Because I'm letting so many different mindsets, and we call them spirits. But spirits are just influences, thoughts, feelings. And every day it said that the earthly tabernacle weighs down on the mind. Every day you have to understand negative thoughts are trying to enter. I don't think we understand that. I don't think we accept that every day negative mindsets and emotions and feelings are trying to break you.
Carnality.
Because, but the carnal thing is some people sin when they're just really depressed. People make mistakes when they're rock bottom. Some people will just make mistakes when they're too what do you call it?
Overwhelmed
or overstimulated with different feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
You can't control it. You just got to sit back here and release through sex or through drinking or through drugs.
They burn out, yeah.
But the point is understanding. I don't think we understand that a lot of us. I can't speak for everyone. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say some people might not need that medication, because I've experienced people who actually need it. But as a whole, we got to fight. We have to fight mentally. We have to fight to accept what emotions and feelings we want to give ourselves to, and which emotions and feelings we don't want to give ourselves to. Matter of fact, there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes. We're going to go back to this, where it says, you have to know what's evil for your spirit and give not unto it. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 37, verse 27 and 28.
Come.
Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 37, verse 27 and 28. We're going to stay on that on me out there, so hold that. Ecclesiastes chapter 37, verse 27 and 28.
Ecclesiastes chapter 37, verse 27. My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it.
He says, prove thy spirit in your life. Meaning, you have to take real time to figure out what type of influences, what type of people, what type of energy, conversations.
Yeah.
What works for me and what doesn't work for me. What takes me in the wrong spirit? What music puts me in the wrong spirit? Should I sit back here and give myself to too much music? What does music do to me? Some people can sit back here. I've seen it. Some people can just listen to music and it doesn't change them. Other people become the embodiment of whatever music they listen to. What kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person that becomes the embodiment of the music that you listen to? If that's the case, then you don't need to listen to music. You better listen to some damn gospel. You better listen to some straight spiritual music.
Only.
Because your mind can't hack it. But this is part of the proving process. I gotta learn and figure out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. What influences can I sustain and which ones I can't. This is why it's about being honest. You have to be honest with yourself. Like I said, some people just can't deal with being on the internet. The internet works on jacks people up, man. Internet too. But the problem is people like it. They like these influences, but they realize they can't hack it. So the goal is to prove your spirit in life, learn what your personal spiritual boundaries are. Read on.
And see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it.
Exactly. You have to learn what doesn't work for you. What type of thinking doesn't work for you. What type of mindset doesn't work for you. Read on.
For all things are not profitable for all men.
And that's an important thing to understand for all of us again. I can't handle certain influences, and can I accept that? Can I accept that when I'm around this energy, I drop?
It's not beneficial
Exactly.
for you as a person. Your physical brother might be able to be in that environment and maintain himself and no problem.
But problem is, I might like it.
Come.
It's not about likes or not liking.
Come.
I might like doing something, but doing something has an effect. Being around certain people, being around a certain environment, doing things I might have an interest in doesn't mean it's good for my spirit. And this is why, and when I'm sitting back here around certain people, I'm a different person. Some people, like, their personality changes based on who they're around.
Exactly.
I don't know if you know anybody like that. I'm different when I'm around this influence. I'm different when I'm around this person. So you know what? If you're taking proper inventory of yourself, you just say, I can't be around this environment. I can't be around this type of person. It brings the negative out of me. And can I accept that? Can I be honest while I'm proving and evaluating myself? These are the things we all have to answer if we want to find more of a happier medium and not be so extreme in our conduct. Because our extreme conduct establishes our extreme emotional changes. The conduct and the thinking takes me mentally here and there. Okay? Okay. Let that go in Ecclesiastes 37 and go back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and 16 now.
Verse 16. And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and with labor do we find the things that are before us.
The problem is, it says, he says we hardly guess right about how to deal with our spirit and how to manage ourselves in this world. Then he says, and with labor do we find the things that are before us. Meaning, it takes us multiple mistakes to figure things out. It says with labor. Read that part of the labor part again.
And with labor do we find the things that are before us.
A lot of times there's a lot of labor because we don't listen. We don't listen to advice. We don't listen to counsel. So we'll keep making the same mistake over and over again. We run into that brick wall. We'll still sit back here and give our mind a negativity, things that weaken us. And then we'll keep sinning and we'll keep falling. We'll have all these fluctuations of emotions, fluctuations of happiness and sadness and frustration and anger. We're going through all this gambit of feelings in a day and not know why. But not realize that we allow every thought and sensation that pops into our head to be entertained. Whether it's outside influences, whether it's media, whether it's music, whether it's entertainment, or it's just me sitting back here and letting any thought enter, are the reasons why I'm emotionally and mentally unstable. And he says we hardly guess right when it comes to what works for our spirit. Why do we hardly guess right when it comes to our spirit? Because we're always choosing what our flesh wants. We're always choosing what feels good versus what's good for me.
Spiritually.
Spiritually.
Because people say good for me, man. It might mean something else.
No, it's good for you, especially in the flesh.
Oh,
There we go. But we don't even know the difference half the time. We don't know the difference between what's given to me spiritually and physically, mentally. Okay. But the problem is we lie to ourselves and say we do.
That's what I'm saying.
I can handle this. No, you can't. You keep making the same damn mistake over and over again, but you say you can handle it.
Obviously, we're lying.
Obviously, we're liars. We're liars.
Lawyer.
We're not lying. We're liars. We're habitual liars. Now, we're going to let that verse go. Next man, Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9 and 10. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9 and 10.
Jeremiah 17.
The beginning part of this class, we're establishing, put it in there. The beginning part of this class, we're establishing the source of the problems, the source of the weakness, the source of the failure and the disconnect between us and the Most High. Okay? So Jeremiah,
I got you. You know I got you.
Okay. Right? Jeremiah chapter 17. It didn't look like it for a second, man. Jeremiah 17, verse 9 and 10.
Jeremiah chapter 17,
that was
verse
her
9.
verse 9 and 10. Right? Okay. Jeremiah verse 17, 9 and 10, yes.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things.
He says the heart is deceitful. The heart's not talking about the actual muscle that pumps blood all throughout the body. The heart is referring to the mind. The mind is deceitful. Once again, when you're sitting back here trying to work yourself out of a rut, trying to work yourself out of a spiritual rut, I would always advise every single one of you guys to seek counsel, with people that have proven to push you to strength. But it can't just be seeking counsel. You have to start laying the foundation of fighting things in you as well if you want to maintain stability. So in the process of identifying what works for me and what doesn't work for me, the first thing you have to realize is that you're a liar. And that your mind is always going to tell you you're not that bad. Your mind's going to always tell you that you can handle it. Your mind's going to always tell you that you're strong enough to handle it. But you know what the crazy thing is? You have to go off of your game film. I always go back to sports because I did when I was young. Go back to the game film. Don't lie. Okay, if you missed a block, it's on film. You get I slipped. No, you missed the block, bro, and it looks bad. And a lot of times we have to sit back here and focus more on the result versus my intention, because we deceive ourselves by telling ourselves our intentions weren't that bad. I didn't mean it. We say we didn't mean it, but that just softens the blow of the negative, nasty choice you made. If I chose to be angry, I chose to sit back here and be into my flesh, then own it and stop lying to yourself, because we lie to ourselves by telling ourselves we're not as bad as we think. And we're so focused and so consumed on making ourselves feel better that we never get to learn the lessons we're supposed to learn so we can grow.
I just want to go on the scripture, the word deceit.
Please do.
Because the heart's deceitful, right?
No.
The word deceit, can you read that scripture again with the word deceit?
No. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things.
The word deceit means the act of causing someone to accept as true or valid what is false or invalid. The whole spirit of deceit is to make you believe something that's not true, and make you think it's true, or make you think it's beneficial.
You know, a lot of times I'll tell myself that this person is the reason why I do negative. When it's really, I'm the reason that I do negative. But I tell myself, you're the reason you trigger my negative. What? You're the reason I do negative. But that's what we'll tell ourselves. Or we'll blame somebody else for our decision making. And once again, it's so important that we deal with this, because when you're starting to deal internally to sustain yourself emotionally, when you're working on sustaining yourself mentally and emotionally and spiritually, you have to do a lot of inward thinking, a lot of inward work. Okay? And the little down the line is going to kind of go into that. Matter of fact, I'm not going to go into that.
One more scripture.
I'm not going to that. Keep going.
Point three of the word deceit. Deceit is the quality of being dishonest.
It's a
Or-
quality.
It's a quality of it.
Yeah.
The quality of being dishonest or misleading. So when I'm sitting here allowing myself to believe every thought that pops in my mind, that's the spirit of being dishonest. I'm being dishonest. I'm lying to myself, and then I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm gonna sit here and believe something that's not true. I'm setting myself up.
Mm-hmm.
So in the process of me setting myself up, now I'm gonna go ahead and end up regretting the decisions. And then what's the next move? The next move is I had to create a blame figure. I had to create a blame figure. This situation is really stupid. I mean, I put myself in a really bad situation. So now, how can I mislead myself the next step? Okay, let me blame this person for why I did this bad decision. That keeps me unaccountable. It keeps me from solving the problem. That's the spirit of deceit.
Mm-hmm. So, keep going. Read 17 and 9 and 10.
Jeremiah 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
The truth is, you can know it if you're honest with yourself.
God.
And that's the challenge. Can I be honest with myself when I'm evaluating why I'm always up and down? Why I'm strong one day, I'm down one day, I'm strong one day, I'm down one day, I'm good for 3 days, I'm negative for 5, I'm positive for 2, I'm down for 7. Why? Why the inconsistency? Because you know what? I play with too much negativity. I allow, listen, everybody has their fair share of negativity that they're dealing with.
God.
Their fair share of negative thoughts, feelings, emotions that hit them on a consistent basis. We all face it. The difference is in how much you entertain these emotions, how much you entertain these feelings and these impulses. That's what determines how spiritually strong you are, and it determines how consistent you're going to be with your personality and your mood swings. Okay, now give me verse 10.
I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his way.
He gives to every man according to his or her what? Ways. So you're in the predicaments that you are. You're in your ruts the way you are because of your choices, your thinking, the way you process things. So once again, the Most High is trying to make us look inward before we can work on maintaining ourselves emotionally. Okay, we're going to let this verse go. No, read on. Keep going.
And according to the fruit of his doings.
I want you guys to go from here, go to Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 29 through 32. No, 23. Yeah, it is 23 and 29 through 32. And I want somebody else to give me Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4 and 5. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4 and 5. The first one is Proverbs 23, verse 29 through 32. Another man, and once again, I needed Habakkuk 2, verse 4 and 5. Because they go kind of hand in hand. So, give me this Proverbs 23.
Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 29. Who have woe?
Who has woe? I mean, who's sad? Who has sadness in their heart? Who's down? Read on.
Who have sorrow?
Who has sorrow? Who are the people that are down, sad, depressed, unhappy, unfulfilled, lacking? No, just put the other one. Just put
No,
that.
it's
Okay, read on.
Who have contentions?
So who has contentions? Who's angry inside? Who's battling with themselves on the inside?
Mm-hmm.
Sorrow. These are the range of emotions that we deal with. Sorrow, anger, woe. What woe is me? That down, depressed spirit. Who has contentions inside? You know, I'm not sure if I want to do this. I'm not sure if I want to commit myself to serve the Most High. I'm not sure if I want to commit all the way and change. Who has all these mental, physical, and spiritual fluctuations inside? Read on.
Who have babbling?
Who have babbling? Who just keeps talking rhetoric from the inside with no real solutions?
It's crazy, bro.
Read on.
Who have wounds without cause?
A lot of times, who was wounded and fractured from the inside out. Read on.
Who have redness of eyes.
You know that person that doesn't get no sleep, that's constantly stressed, or you get sleep but it's not rested sleep, you're not content. A person who's got redness of eyes, you're not content. You're not satisfied.
Not at peace.
You're not at peace. You're not satisfied with your condition. That's a person who's what? Going through mental issues. A lot of people that I've sat back and had mental issues, they just don't be going to sleep, bro. They can't rest. They cannot rest. They're up till 5, 6 in the morning for a week straight.
For years.
With them,
Some people
it's up and down. But yeah,
Stop.
they're getting no rest. It's extreme.
Yeah.
They're traumatized. They're stressed out. He says, once again, who have these issues? Read on.
They that tarry long at the one, they that go to seek mix wine.
He says, they that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine. That's not talking about going to damn HEB and getting that Carlo Rossi, man. It ain't talking about getting no red Carlo Rossi, the red wine or the white wine. It's not talking about that, all right? You get you or get you that box wine, that Franzia. I know everybody's doing that box wine stuff. That cheap old box wine. That cheap box wine. They do like this. When it's almost over, you pour it this way to get the little bit of the last box wine out. Listen, you're not having all these spiritual and mental woes off some damn cheap box wine. If you have a nasty headache in the morning, though, I tell you that. It'll give you some headache. All right, I'm not messing. That's bad news, bro. But you might get a headache. But drinking wine is not going to give you this level of woe. And he says wine and mixed wine. So we're going to sit back and go into what the wine is. Now we go to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4 and 5. We're going to go back to this verse. But I want you to read that, Habakkuk.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
This is talking about Esau, the so-called white man. And it said, his soul that is lifted up in him, his pride, his soul is not upright. The so-called white man's spirit is not about serving the Most High. It's not about putting him first. Read on.
But the just shall live by his faith.
The just, the people that live their life by the scriptures will have to live by faith. Read on.
Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine.
The so-called white man transgresses by wine. The wine, this isn't the box wine either. This wine is referring to influence, doctrine, thinking, knowledge. It's the information that Esau puts out to the people. His propaganda,
Philosophy.
his media, his philosophy is how he transgresses. It's how he breaks the people down. It's by the information he teaches the people. The slanted information that he teaches the people. Is that all of verse 5, sir? Keep going.
He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home.
Exactly. That's why, there's a U.S. embassy in every country in the world. And his whole mantra is, hey, we got to sit back and spread this democracy everywhere. Or these guys in Iraq are enemies of democracy. These cats in Libya are enemies of democracy. He can never just stay at home and focus on his country. He's got to be up in somebody else's business, taking their money, taking their oil, taking their natural gas, and all their natural resources. Read on.
Who enlarges his desire as hell.
He wants every place to be jacked up like his country. Read on. More morally and spiritually jacked up, to be more specific. Because they'll sit back here and say America's better than any other place. Because they might have some more money. They might have a little more opportunity to have a better house. But you're corrupting yourself spiritually to trade off your impoverished lifestyle in another country for a spiritually corrupt country. Pick your poison. Read on.
And is as death.
Now, you done with that? Is it?
No, I still a little more.
I don't want any more of it, because the point of the angle, if we were going over an Esau angle or verse, cool. But this isn't the point of it. And it's about understanding that wine is your thinking. Wine is information. Wine is knowledge. Wine is what you allow your mind to give yourself to. Okay? Now, we let that go. We go back to Proverbs
23 in verse 31.
Proverbs 23 in verse 30. No.
31.
No, I want 30.
Okay, 30 come.
No, once again, 29 was talking about who's sad, who has contention in their mind, who's babbling, who has wounds, who's messed up, who's mentally and spiritually messed up. Verse 30.
They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine.
It's the people that mix influences. It's the people that mix every single thought and allow every single thought, influence, energy, mindset to roll rampant in their head. And letting their thoughts go unimpeded is how they say. When you allow every impulse to run around without checking it at the door, this is what happens. The chaos called your life is what happens. The inconsistency of your life is what happens when you don't fight to not give yourself to adding on to different thoughts. It's one thing to have an impulse, because we all have impulses.
Yeah.
We all have a thought that will pop in our head. But who feeds it? Who adds on to the thought? When you start adding on to the thought is when you start to get out of control. And those thoughts become obsessions. And those obsessions take you down a path that you can't control. So now you have all these emotions taking you here, there, everywhere. You're out of control. And all of a sudden you were this way today. 3 days later, you're a different thinking person. You're acting different. You're impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
You're making decisions that are quote unquote out of character. And that's how you know it's because of the thoughts and the influences that you choose to give yourself to. Okay? All I wanted was keep going. Give me verse 31.
Look not thou upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth his color in the cup.
I got to make this point. Looking at the wine when it's red, it's talking about enjoying the wine.
Exactly.
We enjoy. Sometimes I enjoy just. I don't sound crazy, but just being a nigga, you're an Israelite man. But I just enjoy. I just want to give myself the spirit of being this simple carnal simpleton. I want to be. I want to give myself the spirit of being just this person that has strife. I'm angry, so now I just want to. I know the scripture says the servant of the Lord must not strive. But I want to feed into and I want to embrace the character of the strife that's in me. So I'm giving myself to this wholeheartedly. And when you give yourself to a spirit, you're going to be all over the place because spirits change. They fluctuate.
But you know what you tell yourself to do that? I just want to relax a little bit. I've been stressing out all day long. I've been focused. I've been doing good. Let me take a break up top. Let me entertain some lust. Let me entertain thinking about women for a while. Let me entertain sitting back here.
It's not wicked to be into women, right? I mean, we not. It's not wrong, but there's an insatiability, and women aren't wicked, but the insatiability when you're dealing with them, that can become.
Or to be more specific,
yeah.
Everybody can't sit back here and be around certain influences without losing their mind.
Exactly.
And that's the whole point. It doesn't have to be women. It could be the company of men. It could be the company of people that like to party. If I like being around people that like to party, and guess what? What is party? I might say I want to go to a party and relax. But what does partying mean? Is partying just relaxing? And popping a couple of cold ones?
No.
Bro, there's powder coming in here. Like, where the hell is this powder coming from, bro?
That's somebody else's party coming in.
That's the point. It's all influences. And that's the point. The point is that I want to relax. I want to relax, but that relax takes me a certain different direction than another person. And it just tells us that I can't be so caught up into what I like physically that I sit back here and start to lose my spiritual stability, my spiritual character, my spiritual foundation. Because the funny, everything has their own vomit. Some people just like to sit back here and just stew in their negativity.
Yep.
And just like to complain. It's comfortable to sit back here, back off, stay in your room, and just shut the whole world off. That's another person's vice. But what if shutting the world off and being to yourself is damaging to your spirit?
It's detrimental to the spirit.
It's still damaging to your spirit. Just because I might be at the house cutting myself off to the whole world and not giving myself, that doesn't make me better than the person that wants to go party. Because you know what the problem is? Me being super introverted doesn't heal me. and the other person that wants to go party doesn't heal them. You have to know what's evil for your spirit and give not that to you. So we're gonna keep going because we're still
Look
still
not
early in
thou
this.
upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth his color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright.
You can't get so caught up into just relaxing and enjoying what's in front of you
And getting infatuated.
that you lose
Come.
the results of how playing with those thoughts gets you. Read on.
At the last it bitteth like
Biteth.
a serpent.
It biteth.
Biteth like a serpent.
Read it again from the top, verse 32.
At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder.
When I entertain thoughts, when I entertain emotions, when I entertain negativity, it might feel good to tap into those feelings, but the end result is me getting stung, me falling, me being down, me being broken,
Doing something
me
stupid.
being spiritually, mentally, chemically imbalanced. Then I have to go back and reset and start all over again. Okay? Let that go. And we're going to go to Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 14.
Okay.
Ephesians 4 and 14.
Ephesians 4 and 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro.
You know, a lot of times, read on. Matter of fact, read it from the top so everybody can get it. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 14.
Ephesians 4 and 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine.
The crazy thing is, this is our flaw. We function like children. Because a child, if you see a child, what does a child normally have? He has a very low attention span. He can be focused for a short period of time on homework, then something to happen, he's focused on something else. If he's near a window, he's chilling, he looks at the window, he looks at the birds or the doggy or whatever's happening out in front of his backyard, his front yard. We're no different. We're supposed to sit back here and keep a disciplined mindset and approach to functioning in life, and we get distracted very easily. And it doesn't necessarily mean doctrine. It doesn't necessarily mean like a new religion or a new belief. He's saying we just can't be so quick to get tossed to and fro emotionally, mentally. I can't, listen, you ain't got to say that, you ain't got to raise your hand. How many times you feel good at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then by 5, I feel kind of down. And at 6, I'm kind of angry. Huh?
It's automatically like boom, like nothing triggered that.
Well, whether it's triggered or not is still a problem. Get what I'm saying? Because whether it's triggered or the emotion, yeah, because everything triggers anything. So it's going to trigger. But the point is that I'm getting triggered. It shows a default in who? I can't get easily it says I can't get easily tossed. So I can't let something trigger me. That's me losing control off of an outside environment. If I'm supposed to be the spiritual person, I can't let my environment change me and trigger me. I have to always be in control of my emotions. And this is the whole point. This is part of that of mankind that we have to continue to work on. I can't let my environment dictate my emotions, my emotional state, my mental state. I have to be the same person every day, because if somebody pissed me off, right, that means something happened to me. And I had to choose to feed that thinking. Because I have to choose to be angry. I have to choose to say, man, okay, he pissed me. That was kind of dirty, or that was kind of dumb what he or she did. You know what? I'm going to let that go. Versus saying, man, that person did this to me. Why'd they do that? They got a problem with me. They always piss me off. They always poking the bear. Bear going to bite back. You know what I mean? You see the difference in thinking? I have to feed the thought. I have to feed on what was what impulse was pushed to
I'm
me.
giving my spirit to it.
But what the class about us today is to not give yourself to feed any emotion. Once again, if it's anger, if it's lust, if it's fear, if it's doubt, if it's pride, I have to choose to entertain it or not. I have to choose to entertain the emotion I give myself to, so I don't fluctuate like this. Because everything around me is trying to get me to fluctuate my mood, my temperament, my mindset. That's what I was reading in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9.
It's that balance.
All these surrounding environments, the purpose of it is to pull you out of your spiritual mode, your mindset, who you are as a person. And that's how you have to look at life. Everything out there is gunning to pull you out of your spiritual strength. This is a spiritual battle. This is a dogfight that we're in. In the fight is in the preservation of your spirit, the preservation of your natural self. That's what we're fighting for. Okay,
Maintaining sanity, bro.
maintaining your original self. Because if not, everything that pops around me, I'm going to keep giving myself to it. I'm either going to make a mistake, and then all of a sudden, after the mistakes I make, then I get down on myself, I beat myself up. Then I take that and I start quitting and I start making more mistakes. And you look up and I'm like, man, I just regressed in a 3-month period tremendously. Okay. Continue in Ephesians.
Yeah.
Are you finished with 14? Did you finish
I'll
it?
read the middle.
Read it from the top again.
Got it. Ephesians 4:14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, by the sleight of men, and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive.
Whether it's people waiting to sit back here and bring out the negative in you, or it's just spirits coming at you. Because we're going to go into the whole spiritual aspect of it really soon also. Okay, so let that go. We're going to go to Mark chapter 7, verse 20 through 23. Mark chapter 7, verse 20 to 23. Mark 7, verse 20 to 23.
Mark chapter 7, verse 20. And he said, that which cometh out of the man that defileth the man.
So the verse earlier was talking about what goes in you doesn't defile you, is what comes out of you. Now we know that's not saying I can eat pork and shrimp, crab, and lobster, so I'm not going into that. But this part is like what comes out of a man defiles you. Okay? And read on.
For him within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders.
Come to this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's simply the product. The adultery, fornication, murder, or whatever the sin or negativity that I produce, that's a product of all those mixed wines.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and all these things around you that seem to attract themselves to you, they're attracting to this negative that's in you. So I got to ask myself, why does this spirit always come and ride me? Because negative attracts to what? There you go. And this is how you know when the battle starts. These spirits, all this negativity that's coming your way is attracting to something negative in you. And you have a responsibility to not feed that negative that's already in you. Because I know that's what you want to do in the first place. Because we're asking ourselves, why does these things keep happening to me? Why does this environment, this influence keep pushing up on me?
Because the house is always open.
Exactly.
The house. Listen, if I'm a spirit,
It's no different
Come.
than if I'm a married woman and I constantly have some guy that keeps pushing up on me. What is it about this guy that keeps pushing up on me?
he sees a weakness.
There's something in me that I'm showing him that you can keep trying. There's something in me that's telling this person that, you know what, keep trying. You might get.
She's not convinced, Doc.
He's not convinced.
No, I'm saying in his mind.
Yeah.
In his mind, she's saying no right now,
Mm-hmm.
but you just gotta give her
Some
maybe
time.
Some time, and I'm gonna keep pressing and putting pressure, and eventually, because I know this person's not convinced, there's an opening. I'm gonna get my way.
And this is what we have to understand in our battle. Why does a certain negative keep coming at me? I can keep blaming it on the negative, or I can realize there's a negative that spirit identifies to me, because there's negative in me, and I have to make sure I pull out this negative in me, so these environments and this negativity will stop attracting me like a magnet. Okay, read it from the top again, verse 21. I mean,
Mark chapter 7, verse 21. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit,
lasciviousness,
an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of these things come from within and defile the man.
There's different combinations of that wine we like to sip. Simply just this sin is just based off what particular negative that you like to feed.
that you prefer.
Some people like to be blasphemers. That's just the spirit they like to nurture.
Or the evil eye. Some people just like to see the negative in people, the negative in situations.
And they can point out wherever they go because
Exactly.
they practice that spirit. So whatever you practice in your mind, which is a routine, what you build up, it's a skill. You've learned to master the skill of pulling the negative out of every situation. Or if you've mastered the skill of finding a reason to be unhappy.
And I was going to say another thing. Some people just are very skilled at finding reasons to be sad.
That's a skill.
It is finding reasons to be unhappy.
That's a skill though, for real.
Yeah, we had a good day, but it was cloudy. And because it was cloudy, now I'm sad. Now you want to throw pebbles on the damn water and skip the breakfast.
No,
Play the banjo and stuff,
everybody-
the ukulele.
Everybody, they won the game, but I think about the times
When I lost.
when I didn't win. I can relate to that with the person they felt when the person didn't win.
And there's sometimes an over emphasizing or empathy to the weak zone.
Yeah.
And it turns into you. I'm not trying to focus on the sad people.
No.
That's not.
We're not banging on the sad people. We're saying, the spirit of addiction. Like Dave Chappelle said, drugs is everywhere. Can see that glue, y'all? Sniff it. That's drug. He was pointing out the fact.
Tyrone Biggums.
Yeah, Tyrone Biggums. Listen, when a person,
a negative person can find a negative in anything.
They can tune in to negativity.
That's hilarious. It's actually funny.
In any environment, you can tune into the negative in any environment you're at because that is a skill and a routine that
you affect.
Built. It's a skill. Like this is a skill. Everywhere I go, I see the good in everything, and everywhere I go, I can point out the greatness of people. And you know what? No matter what situation happens, I can find the happiness in these situations, and it only makes me stronger. People are equal to me. I just use it for motivation. Okay, you practiced.
That's phenomenal if you could do that.
People that practice that. You have practiced that mindset, and you've learned to manufacture everything and produce a product that makes you more skillful, more motivated, more intellectual, more well studied. That's a skill. The question is, what are you practicing? What wine are you constantly brewing in your spirit, in yourself?
Because once again, it still goes back to the thoughts you feed. You feed thoughts based upon negative that's in you. That a negative from the outside in the world attracts the negative that's in you. So if I'm always in battle mode and fight mode, it's because there's a part of me that wants to always put hands on somebody.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that wants to always look for a fight.
And bust some.
And that's why the fight always comes to me. If it's lust, then lust keeps attracting to me, it's because it's lust inside of me.
Yeah.
If it's a negative outlook, I'm going to keep seeing more bad in people because that's what I'm looking for.
Or a shady come up side. Listen, if I'm in a spirit of desperation, you're gonna have people with shady come ups attracting you.
Exactly, but it's coming from within. People want to always say it's the outside, but it's in you, and that's why you're in these circumstances. But let's keep going. We finished that, right, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, let that verse go. We're going to go to Romans chapter 7, verse 23 and 24. Now, in your free time, reading the entire book of Romans 7 is a good choice. But we're not going to go into it because of the shortness of time. It's already 9 o'clock, and we just got in like 5 verses. So because of that, we can't really fully focus on it's 7:23 and 24. Romans chapter 7, verse 23 and 24.
So what we learned so far? What we picked up? We gotta find this out. Let's call a small recap.
Yep.
What we picked up? True.
It's that, but we're dealing also. We're still dealing with how and why people are so extreme with how they do things.
Cause and effect.
Why they're so extreme with their mentality. Why they're strong today. They're off tomorrow. Their mindset is negative the next day. Why are the fluctuations there?
What's the reason?
Because there is that people could say that's clinically by being bipolar. People can say that, and that's not necessarily the truth.
I think it would be like just hearing other people, their feedback and what they explain.
And it's how you react to it, and learning how to deal with being more consistent mentally, being more stable mentally. Because as soon as you have all these thoughts infiltrate your mind, and you start to get depressed, down, sad, defeated. What do you start doing when you get defeated? Then you start sinning. You start to sin when you're defeated mentally. When you're sad, you're beat up, You become down. You're desperate. Now you got to find a win somehow. You got to find a win. You're gonna find it carnally.
That's the way you try to flip. That's the flesh is way of solving the problem.
Yes.
The flesh has a way of solving the problem, and the spirit has a way of solving the problem.
Spiritual relapse.
Yep. Well, and this is where the next part of the verse goes.
It's 1 point. Yeah. But when you say that people downloading on you, and then I used to have the issue where people would download on me their situation, and I don't know how they would leave, and I would just be stuck in their.
They felt better.
I was stuck in their life. Why am I stuck in this person's life? I mean, it's like nighttime. I'm still thinking about this person's life.
And now you're sad.
Damn, why are they going through these things?
Why am I going through things? Now I'm going about me.
I'm in things too. That, you know what?
There's similarities in battles.
That's the spirit of over empathizing. What I had to learn was I have to empathize to a point. And I had to fight myself to be objective. I had to fight myself to see what does a person do to cause their own tragedy. Because in this story, we are the creators of our own tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I can point, cause I talk to thousands of people per year, but my job is talking to people all day. So that's my job, to hear everybody's story, right? That's what I do for a living. So if I'm doing this, I'm entertaining these stories. This guy had a great time. Him and his wife, they had a great time. They got married. I'm happy. This person over here, he got shot, and he didn't know why he got shot. Now I'm like, I don't know why he got shot. Someone trying to shoot me, trying to kill me. Paranoia pops in. It's a spirit of over empathizing, and you're supposed to put yourself in other people's shoes. That's the rule. You should do that. But there is a point. And learning how do I emotionally and mentally discipline myself to where I don't jump into, I completely give myself to the energy in front of me. That's how you take people's problems to your house, and then you put it into your relationship. This person had a bad situation in their marriage. I take it to my marriage. Now we're having fights and arguments. It had nothing to do with your situation, but I drug that issue into my issue. It's called boundaries. You have to create boundaries and laws in your life of how much you're going to meditate on something. I'm only going to give my mind to this for 5 minutes, and I'm cutting it off after that. I'm not going to play with it. I was never, when I was a child, things didn't go well. Okay, we've had this thought 3,000 times. This is the same story. You've already had this conversation. Remember the scripture said there's babbling, right? There's babbling. Who is babbling? Babbling is confusing circular conversation, circular thinking, repetitive thoughts, repetitive conversation. It's how people cast spells on you. They say the same thing on you over and over again till you start to feel it. That's what Esau does. Chicken, chocolate, money.
Ice cream.
Dude, ice cream. Be your own boss. Be your own boss. Don't listen to anybody. You're your own man. You don't need anybody. One deep.
Team me.
Team you. The more you focus on the idea in front of you, you become what you focus on. As a man thinketh, we always say it. So what? So when I'm entertaining a conversation, or I'm entertaining a person's life, the more I give my mind to it, you're supposed to think about it. But you're supposed to say, okay, I'm only going to give my mind to this so much because I know after a certain period of time, if I don't detach, I'm going to become this person's problems. I got my own problems. So you have to be honest with yourself, honest with the people around you, so that you don't sit here and fall into those same traps. That's it, bro.
Let's go and read this in Romans.
Yes.
Because now we're going to start going into, now it's the choice to fight the spiritual battle, to choose to stay strong or to choose to give in to your flesh. Because that's where a lot of the depression kicks in too. There's different stages, there's different aspects to depression and mental health, especially in this realm. You know, in the world, you know, you're just a slave to your impulses and your feelings and you're good. When you come into this realm, now you're given a spiritual way of life, but then I still have things I want to deal with in the world. And finally making that spiritual choice to kill this element of me, the worldly element, and to give myself to the spiritual element brings a lot of mental anxiety too, a lot of stress too. Because even though we might be in the knowledge for a year or two, maybe 3, and I like this knowledge, I still like these elements in the world. Now we have this conflict in this fight to see who wins. And that struggle brings about the sadness. That struggle brings about the stressors and the frustration and the anger and all the ups and downs. And it's no different if a person does a crash diet, right? You sit back here and you stop eating certain foods for a month.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be good for a week, maybe a week and a half. Then you start going through withdrawals. Has anybody gone through withdrawals in a diet? Where you get hangry and eating this damn watermelon is not goddamn good enough. Eating this fruit is not baller. And you get angry at the fruit. The fruit didn't do anything to you, but you're angry. This fruit represents the fact that I want some damn chicken.
Restriction. Yeah.
I'm at right across from the damn chicken spot. I can't have no wings. I can eat this damn lettuce. I can eat the goddamn lettuce. I got Whataburger right across the street. All I got to do is hit it up. And I got some noodles, some damn noodles, some wacko noodles, with some whatever. You get my point. And I'm sitting back here, stomach on fire. You eat it and you're hungry within 30 minutes, And I can solve this problem right here. That's 2,000 calories right across the street. And I'm straight. The point is that even when we go through physical withdrawals, because we're weaning ourselves off of food that's not good for you, it's still dealing with the spiritual battle the same way.
True.
When I sit back here and I'm coming to serve the Most High, the first thing you realize, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No. And that frustration kicks in too. And that anxiety kicks in too. And that emotion fluctuates then too. And you start losing control of your emotions because that acceptance hasn't come. So go to Romans chapter 7, verse 23 and 24.
Romans chapter 7, verse 23. But I see another law in my members.
A fact about my members. A fact about my mind. A fact about how I process things. Read on.
Warring against the law of my mind. And bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members.
Slave again.
Exactly. Because now all of a sudden, once I'm told right from wrong, now I'm a slave to sin now.
Now I'm this character. Now I'm this unstable character.
Because I'm fighting, because I want the flesh, but I know it's wrong to be in the flesh. I want to be right. I want to do right. But now I'm sitting back here and I'm trapped because I'm fighting my impulses all the time.
It was all
I'm
good.
fighting my emotions
Earlier.
all the time. I'm fighting because when you was out to do what you want to do, it was cool. Now you're told no. Now the battle starts. How come I can't do it? How come I just can't be into me? And it doesn't have to be extreme like drug use or the club. It don't gotta be. It could be, how come I just can't be into myself? I'm not breaking any laws. I just don't like talking to people. I don't like dealing with people. I don't like dealing with human beings. Sometimes, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I first came to us, I didn't like being around people. Why? I gotta remember all the time? I remember when I first came, I gotta be at the camp every day, bro. I gotta be at the school every day. Gotta just be at the house, bro. I don't feel like being with cats 24, 25, 8. That's what it felt. It was an extra hour in a day. 25, 8. Like, damn, all day long, we're out, people. Give me.
Need. Yeah.
Well, you know what the reality is? That was my battle. And I had to accept these were my conditions. Yes, sis?
And you know what? It's crazy because it starts off very, very small.
Mhm.
Like, for example, it could be like the brother's rib, just that name. She don't want to go by her Hebrew name. She wants to go by her Jake name.
Mhm.
So that's a small little.
Yeah. That's the start.
Exactly. Things like that.
It's,
I gotta wear a skirt.
yeah.
Well, I have to put my head start off. I don't want to do that. That's not me. I don't do that. That's
Yeah.
not me.
Exactly.
It's very, very small.
Yep.
No,
And step by step, we're all being pushed to come out of our comfort zone. And the why. Why do I have to do this? Why do I got to get pushed to this situation? It just pisses people off more and more and more. And then the more you're pushed to change, the more people want to sit back and get angry and emotional. And all these fluctuations kick in. Yes, sis.
And we also have to remember that we've always been told to like yes to everything and do what you want,
Mhm.
what you feel, whatever's in your heart.
Mhm.
And now we come into this that it's talks about our boundaries and it's like a total like change from the world.
Yep.
So that's where your flesh fights that.
And it's even worse for the quiet ones. Because the people that are going to talk, they going to tell it to you like it is. You're going to argue that night. You're going to have a damn argument. But you know, the problem is the other person that's quiet just internalizes and internalizes and internalizes and is a damn time bomb in 2 or 3 weeks. A time bomb in 3 months. They're like, crazy! And it's like, where did this come from?
I thought you were cool.
I
thought you were cool.
I thought you were in the spirit.
I thought it was cool.
Like, nah, G, you ain't in the spirit. You ain't in the spirit from the jump. Because if it ain't coming out, it's about to come out.
The truth is the
I'm
only
telling
place
you, bro.
where you can't pretend. I've been in a lot of
You
places.
can't
in my
fake
life,
it here, bro.
Listen, this is the only place.
You can't fake it.
Not in this realm.
No. Listen, you might lie for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
You might play fake humble. I ain't gonna say humble. You gonna play humble. Shalom, curtsy. But you know damn well in the back of your head you was pissed. You like you want to turn the neck. Then listen, I be seeing in class. You like this. No. Did anybody see that? And like I saw it. The neck kick in. Eyes want to roll. Like nah, I saw that. I saw it. I didn't see it. Anyway,
Seen to it.
I didn't see it. See it. Point is that this is when the battle starts, and when the Most High lays down, in what Romans 7 talks about, is establishing that internal battle. When you're in the world, you can do what you want to do. Now you're in this realm, and you have all these restrictions. And all these restrictions bring about that emotion, bring about the ups and downs and the insanity and the craziness. Craziness is subjective. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Craziness.
Yeah.
It's not talking about crazy. It's talking about y'all tripping. Man and woman. It's not just sisters either, okay? It's brothers be tripping too. They be losing their head when they got to sit back and be in order and take a check and see the good in correction and see the good in discipline. Men go bananas too. What was you gonna say?
I have to let everybody know this. You're put in this situation because Christ wants to see your sincerity.
Yeah. And he talks about trying the reins.
How else does Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai, the omnipotent one, the all-powerful Yahweh Shai, right? He's the King of Kings. He had to die for us, right? He had to shed his blood to give us a second chance. You don't think he's going to put us through a proving process? If he got to sit here and give his entire life and die and get beat and resurrect and come back and get the angels in order, deal with the angels, and then come back and have his whole life was for you. He wants he's going to make sure that the people that go in his kingdom, the citizens of his next kingdom, are people he wants to be around.
Mm-hmm. And that earn it. I'm going to read it real quick on the point. Jeremiah 17 and 10. We read it earlier. Jeremiah 17 and 10. It says, I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins. Even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. The Most High is going to reward you based on how well you worked on yourself from the inside out. Another verse, Ezekiel 33 and 31. I'm going to go back to this verse in Romans. Ezekiel 30, it was a verse I was going to pull later,
Go ahead.
It's okay, we're there. Ezekiel 33 and 31. I didn't put it on here. What? Okay. Ezekiel 33 and 31.
Jeremiah 1 first.
No, the Ezekiel one. Because I was reading the Jeremiah one. Ezekiel 33 and 31. Because this is how the Most High looks at each and every one of us when we enter these doors. When we come to sit down and get class, we come to sit down and we get knowledge, we come to sit down and get these scriptures. Read that, Ezekiel 33 and 31.
Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 31. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as many as my people. And they hear thy words.
Just like everybody here. You sit down, you hear the words, you hear as the people here. Read on.
But they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness.
And this is what the issue is. The Most High knows that we'll sit back here and sit in class, but in our mind, we're not willing to change. We're not willing to sit back here and do the hard sacrifices it takes to actually fix our thoughts, to be consistent mentally, to be consistent spiritually. And this is why, because the Most High knows that it takes a lot for us to change, is why the Most High has to try our hearts. And he's not going to bless us and get the things we want until we earn the blessing. We're not going to find that mental stability, that stability and that consistency in our mind and our life until we put the work in. Okay? So we're going to let all that go and go back to Romans.
7 and 24.
Yeah.
Romans chapter 7, verse 24. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Because and it's the whole point. This battle is ever present in us. And Paul was like, who's going to sit back here and deliver me from this mental and spiritual stress that I'm going through? Okay? A lot of times that stress is what brings the emotional instability out of us. The pressure to change makes it hard for us to function day to day. And that's where that ups and downs and these in the peaks and valleys in our attitude kicks in.
Come.
Because of the pressure.
Ebbs and flows, yeah.
Exactly. So we're going to let this go. And we're going to go to James chapter 4, verse 1 and 1 through 6. James chapter 4, verse 1 through 6. James chapter 4, verse 1 through 6.
James chapter 4, verse 1. From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even of your lusts that war in your members?
And this is where are you going to say, though? Yeah.
No, well, we're assuming lust. We really can't assume lust is strictly just sexual. That's we can't be like, oh, that's what lust. Sometimes, listen, lust I've seen.
Lust is strong desire.
The lust I've seen, majority of the time, is just the desire to be angry. I just want to be angry. It's just a want. No matter what the situation ends up, no matter what the situation,
desire.
No matter what the scenario is, in the end, am I the person that's angry? No matter what happens in the end, am I the person that's the victim? In 1,000 scenarios, in the end, what is your mental and spiritual state at the end of every situation? That normally is where you want to be. Or do I want to be unaccountable? Nothing's ever my fault. That's a lust. That's a desire. It's a strong desire no matter what happens.
Or if I don't want to give.
That
not wanting to give, or only wanting to give so much is a lust.
That's a strong. There's only so much of me I'm gonna give.
Living in a fantasy and staying in this fantasy world is a lust. A lot of times, living in reality is too much for people. So I'd rather sit back here and live in a fantasy, live in a place in my head that's not real, because it's easier to be in a fantasy world than to deal with the hard reality of what's in front of my face. All these are different lusts that we feed and entertain.
Look for the easy choice. No matter what it is, every situation, I'm always the person that looks for the easiest choice. Mm-hmm. That's a lust. It's a strong desire. And that strong desire is what leads you to destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Read on.
Mm-hmm. Read verse 1 again.
James 4, verse 1. From whence come wars and fighting among you?
The wars and the fighting is not amongst different people. The wars and the fighting is within yourself. And a lot of times, this is where that instability and that mental imbalance starts to fester. That mental imbalance starts to fester when I'm warring inside about what I want. When my desire is kicking and raging, but I know better and I know I'm not supposed to feed that. that constant war and tug of who gets to dominate my mind. What thinking, what thought process gets to dominate in my head is where the battle is why I'm so. Some people voice or they vent their frustration through arguing, yelling, throwing pots, or crying, maybe cutting yourself. Everybody has different ways to express sadness and unhappiness. Either way, what is the same consistent point is that all these emotions and these extremes that we go through are based upon these wars that we have inside. But what are these wars based upon? I want the flesh still. I want what the world has to offer. And I don't want to accept all the conditions of living in this spiritual life. Or to be more specific, Israel are the kings and queens of wanting their cake and eat it too. This is what kills us. I want to sit back here and I want to do this Israelite thing, but I want to do me also. I want to come to class and read these scriptures, but I want to live my life the way I want to live my life also. And you can't have it both ways. And in the process of fighting to appease both sides in this life is where you find this struggle. It's where you find the stress. It's where you find the anxiety and the extremes that we go through mentally. The emotional extremes we go through. Yes, sis.
So, for those that can't necessarily identify their issues, because we all have issues, but some of our issues are more deeply embedded in us where we can't even identify that there is an issue.
Yes.
That we have a problem. So, how do you help those that are that much in denial bring out these issues that they can be addressed, but they can't be more consistent?
I want to say this. Well, the first thing is this. As a person who knows better, do you love them enough to be ready to help them when they're ready? Because a lot of times I can sit back here and have a class like this every day. It doesn't mean they're ready to listen to it. Right? Listen, we've been talking about this. How long have we been teaching about fighting what's inside of you?
Since I came in the door.
For a long damn time. For at least 13, 15 years. And then what happened one day after year 7, year 8, year 3, year 4, the light bulb pops up. Eureka. I have discovered the will. You know what I mean? All of a sudden I've come to a what do you call it? A revelation.
Epiphany, huh?
An epiphany. I have to fight what's inside of me. I have pride. Then you will be able to properly teach.
So having the patience to allow that person to identify the issue.
Yep.
Or will they just have to continually get stung? You know what I mean?
But it's both.
I have to be there for you.
Yes.
You know, but when you actually understand that what you're going through is of your own doing, or the Most High will keep stinging you, and you're going to keep going through negative and bad and whatever he has to get your attention in order for you to see that you're off.
The challenge is to maintain a relationship with a person. And when you have opportunities, teach them. And have enough of a relationship with the person so that when they are ready, you'll be there to show them. Because the thing is this, as much as we have knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the scriptures, I learned this a long time ago, I can't control nobody. I can't control when a person wants to change, how much information they want to retain. Listen, a lot of times people think when you're in this position, you have all this omnipotent power and forces with you and you got all this information and you can teach this and teach this. Man, I always said we are professional grass waters. We water grass every day. I can't control how much grass is going to grow off this water that I water. All I can do is put some water in here and go to Home Depot and get that home grow, that grass grow spray that you put on top of it. You water the grass and get the little grass, the minerals from the grass. That's all I can do. Put some minerals in it, water it, and pray the Most High sits back here and develops a person. It says one man planteth, another man watereth, but the Most High provides the increase. I have no control over nobody. All we can be is consistent, attentive, not partial, and make sure our emotions don't get involved in judgment. Our emotions don't get involved in showing people right from wrong. But to answer your question, sis, it's just about, can you sit back here and be involved in their life long enough so that when they do need you, you're there for them. And when the time is right, they'll be able to receive what you're bringing to the table. What gets us messed up is we get angry that people don't listen, and we cut them off mentally. And once we do that, we lose the opportunity to be sensitive to know when they need you. When is the time to come back and reach them and pull them back close to you?
Cry for help.
But you don't know that because you're angry, because they didn't receive your counsel back then. So once again, you can't make it about yourself. Not that you are, but a teacher can't make it about themselves to where you turn your back on me and now screw you. Can't do that. So,
scripture.
What was that? You got it, sir.
Isaiah 30, verse 20 and 21. And I'll just read it real quick. Isaiah 30, verse 20 and 21. I'm going to read it real quick. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction. So the Most High gives us, He's giving every person based on the decisions. We just read the scripture earlier, right? Mm-hmm. He says, I'm going to reward a man according to his ways. Mm-hmm. So the Most High is giving this person adversity and what? Affliction.
Can I say one thing on this verse?
Come on.
He said affliction. He said adversity is bread,
and
affliction is water.
Come on.
Bread and water are what? They're essentials to sustain yourself. So he's saying affliction and adversity are essential to your growth, into your spiritual nutrition.
Come.
Keep going.
Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore. What that's saying? A teacher is a person that's an influencer and a person that's going to show you the understanding and give you understanding, give you knowledge, give you clarity, right? We came to the truth, so the excuse of I didn't know is done. The game of I don't know was when you didn't have the scripture, you didn't have the truth. Mm-hmm. So the servant of the Lord that knew not his master's will was beaten with what?
Many stripes.
Few stripes.
Few stripes, yeah.
But the servant that knew his master's will was beaten with what? Many stripes. So if I know better, I get more punishment. If I didn't know any better, when we were in the world, we were going through suffering, Deuteronomy 28, and our own conflict, right? You were in that condition, but you didn't know any better. You were living in ignorance. I was living in ignorance, right? So the Most High said, at the time of my ignorance, He does what? He winks at the ignorance. But now He commands all men to do what? To repent. So now it's right here. It says, ye shall not, see that it says, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Now it goes back to that choice. I've received information. I've gotten the word. On the behalf of the teacher, I have to be prepared when the student is ready. But I have to be that professional tape recorder. I got to be that professional reminder service.
Yeah.
All right? That's what we are. We're professional reminder services, tape recorders, grass waterers, or redungers. We constantly retrain people. Okay? But for the student, when they're ready, cool. But until they're ready, they have to keep doing what? Suffering.
And a lot of times the process takes years for people to really, you know what, it takes years? It takes years for people to get tired of falling. Some people, they keep falling, they keep going through these emotional struggles, they keep fighting, just like going back in James. People are fighting and pushing for their way.
Come.
People come in these doors, they know that there's good here. They know that the scriptures are true. They know that there's positivity here. But people still want what they want. They still desire what they desire.
Strong will.
And because they have their own lust, their own desires, their own agenda, their agenda clashes with the Most High's desire for them. A lot of times we don't accept, and when we come to this realm, we are servants. A servant is what? A good servant enjoys his master's will. He enjoys serving the Most High the way He wants us to serve him. But a lot of times we come in these doors and we're not good servants because we come in here and we like what we see, but we still have our own agenda, our own desire, and that's where that struggle and that battle kicks in. And that's where the struggle, and what happens is in the process of you pushing for what you want and the Most High doesn't give it to you, that's when the anger kicks in, the resentment kicks in, the fluctuation of emotion kicks in, that part of you that wants to sit back here and throw tantrums because you're just not finding your own happiness in this realm, it kicks in because I want what I want. I want to pursue my desires in this realm, and the Most High is not giving me what I want. And that's what's going to say in James. Keep going. James chapter 4, verse 1 down to verse 6.
Start at chapter 1.
Uh-huh. 1.
James chapter 4, verse 1. From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence, even of your lusts that war in your members?
In your mind, read on.
Ye lust and have not.
And this is where the frustration and emotion kicks in. You fight, you push for what you want, and you don't get what you want. Read on.
Ye kill and desire to have.
Kill just means going out of your way to go above and beyond the call of duty to pursue what you want, to find your own happiness while you're here serving the Most High. Read on.
And cannot obtain.
So you desire to have and you can't get it. The Most High just doesn't give it to you. And then you're angry, you're sad, you're crying, you're frustrated. Whether your desire is a husband, your desire is Shekoyim, your desire is peace of mind, whatever it is, and you can't get it. Power, control. Read on.
Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not.
What Mosiah is saying, you're not asking for the right things. A lot of times we want what we want, but we're not asking the Mosiah what he wants. And that's where that mental imbalance kicks in. That unhappiness, that sadness, that depression. I'm down. I've seen a lot of Israelites come in through these doors and they're unhappy. They're unsatisfied. They want more. They feel they got cheated in their life. But the reason they got cheated, the reason they're lacking is because they didn't come in here for the right reasons. They didn't come in here to give. They didn't come in here to dedicate themselves to pleasing the Heavenly Father. They came in here to get this Bible thing and come up. They came in to get this knowledge and then win too. And get what they want in their life. A lot of people want their cake and eat it too. And one thing I've learned a long time ago, you can't have it both ways in this realm. You just can't. That's why the Most High said, he that finds his life shall lose it. He that loses his life shall find it. You're not going to have it both ways. Either you're going to come in here as a servant and whatever you want is gone, or you come in here and you get what you want and you never get the spirit. You never get the spiritual fulfillment. That's the catch. Read on.
It's a trade-off.
It's a
Ye
trade.
ask and receive not.
You ask and receive not. Read on.
Because ye ask amiss.
You're not asking for the right thing. There's something off in your request. If you're not getting what you want in this realm, it's because you're not asking for the right things. Read on.
Can I got my point?
I just want to read this last part of the verse. Read on.
That ye may consume it upon your lust.
And that's the problem. And that's where the battle is inside. I have my strong desires, but now I also like doing the will of the Most High. Kind of like it. And the Most High really has a problem with being lukewarm. Lukewarm mentally. I do like this knowledge. I embrace it, but I want to do what I want to do also. That mixed mindset shows a lack of commitment. And it shows that's where your mind is at. And when your mind isn't completely singular of focus, singular of purpose, then you're not going to have a clear mind. You're going to be unstable. You're going to be unhappy. You're going to be going through all these range of emotions because there's a tug of war for the dominance of your mind. There's a tug of war for the peace of mind in your mind that you can't accept. Because part of you wants to do this and the other part of you wants to do that. So there's constant turmoil. There's constant pulling in different directions. That constant pulling in different directions is the epitome of why a person is unhappy, why a person is depressed, why a person is unfulfilled and unsatisfied. A person becomes satisfied when they accept every aspect of whatever they're going through. That's the person who's happy. We want to say something?
I'm with you, bro.
Okay. I just want to bring that last part. I'm sorry.
No, I had to say that.
I took it, man.
No.
I take a brother shine. He had a point at.
Nah, it wasn't like that. It was you displayed it beautifully. I'm cool.
I'm a shout.
I'm unfulfilled now. That's what I want to say. No, I'm glad.
I know. I'm just
joking.
Okay, let's keep going.
James, it always happens to me, huh?
It's always this, huh?
It's a
war spot.
This is more the same, huh?
It's deep in the rap. Let's go. James chapter 4 and 4.
James chapter 4 and 4. Ye adulterers, and adulteresses. Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High?
The Most High is trying to show you his personality. Remember, it was reading in the Wisdom of Solomon. It was 9, and it was verse 13. It says, what man is he that can know the counsel of the Heavenly Father? Who can know how the Most High thinks?
Yeah.
Well, here it is. He said, friendship with the world is enmity with the Heavenly Father. You can't want the world and the Heavenly Father at the same time. He's showing us that we want our flesh, we want our freedom, we want to mind wander, mind travel, be into ourselves, be into our little niches and ways,
Be unaccountable.
be unaccountable,
Yeah.
and then still want to serve the Most High. He said that mindset doesn't work. You're either all the way about me, or you're not about me at all. He is an all or nothing power. If you truly want to tap into the power of serving the Most High, he is all or nothing. He is not the lukewarm type of cat. All throughout the scriptures, the individuals that truly see the power of the Most High are committed all the way, and they're not straddling the fence, living a double life.
Yeah.
That is not how the Most High accepts or works you. So the people that are living a double life, that want both sides, they're going to still be unfulfilled.
It's a bipolar effect.
They're going to be unfulfilled. It's a bipolar way of thinking. And then what ends up happening is you're going to go through all these mood swings because you're in one end, you're sacrificing and you're losing, but you're not losing at all. You're still living your life, so you're not really being fulfilled either way. If I'm going to be in the world, let's be in the world. If I'm about the streets, let's be about these streets. If I'm about sitting back here and making money in the world, let's go get this bread. If it's about being in the knowledge, let's be about this knowledge. And we don't accept that because we have our own covetous nature about us. And as soon as you come into this realm and you're trying to play both sides, you're not going to get the desired effect you're looking for. And that's when the sadness comes in, the unhappiness, the unfulfilledness, that maybe I shouldn't have did this, maybe this isn't for me. All that range of thinking and thought comes from the fact that people haven't made the proper commitment and acceptance to go all the way in. When you go all the way in, there's a peace of mind. You're not angry. You're not looking back anymore. You're not wondering if I would have just stayed in my life doing what I want to do, I could have been happy. You got to kill those thoughts and make a choice. If you do that, you can find peace. Like Christ said in John 16:33, he says, in me you'll have peace, in the world you have tribulation.
Oh.
It's still making a choice. Am I choosing Christ all the way, or am I choosing the world? But what we do is we choose 30% Christ, 70% world, 40-50, or 40-60, 50-50, and wonder why we don't get the effect. And we don't see the power in serving him. The power comes from the individuals who commit all the way and put all their chips in. You don't see the power any other way. Anyway, that was the parable behind Christ walking on water. How you going to learn that you can have faith unless you just take that step out there and take the risk? But you're not walking on water if you got one hand in the lifeboat and you dip your pinky toe in there. Oh, it's cold. It's just frigid. I got to rethink my pros and cons in this situation. Anyway, so we're going to continue. Give me verse 4, sir.
From the top.
From the top.
James 4:4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses.
Those are spiritual adulterers and adulteresses. An adulteress is a person who is dealing with another influence, man or woman, out of wedlock. Man. Yeah. Point is,
these days,
it's dealing with different influences. That's what the adultery is. And it's like, I'm supposed to be committed to the one way, not multiple ways. And dealing with the multiple ways is where the imbalance kicks in. Read on.
Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High?
Mm-hmm.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High.
And everything that we're going through, and I'm glad you pulled that Isaiah 30 out, because it was talking about all the affliction and the adversity is bread and water. It's a necessity to push you to a decision. Everything you're going through, even all the anxiety and the mental up and down and the depression and the sadness, is forcing you to make a choice. Either you're going to sit back here and with all the emotion, the unhappiness and the sadness and the dejection and the void in your life, either you're going to say, you know what, forget this, I'm done with this, I'm going to go live my life, or this is going to push you to say, listen, if you're tired of suffering, then go all the way in. This is how the Most High works. He's forcing us into a fight or flight mindset. Because that's his nature. Isn't he a man of war? He's a man of conflict. So he's going to push you to making a choice. And all this anxiety and the stress and the pressure and the emotional ups and downs is forcing you to say, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all the way in. I'm going to stop playing with this, or I'm not cut out for this. He'd rather you be that way. He said, I'd rather you be hot or cold. If you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out, because I can't properly evaluate a lukewarm person.
Uncommitted.
So uncommitted, a lukewarm person. So let me make life a living hell for them, mentally, physically, and emotionally, until you decide to just poop or get off the damn pot.
Yeah.
And it didn't say poop. You ain't heard that? That's some old country stuff, I guess, man. I ain't.
Oh, grandma said to me.
That's what grandma said. Yeah. Poop or get off the pot, man. Why you wasting all the damn time in the bathroom, bro? People got things to do.
You in the house or you out the house?
Listen,
you close the damn door.
Get in or get out. Make a choice. This is the mindset he's telling us. Make a choice. And if you make a choice and accept your choice and don't turn back on your choice, you'll have a lot better peace of mind moving forward.
And clarity.
You'll have clarity, peace of mind, and acceptance. And you won't have all these mental battles and this stress and these emotions and all these crazy little feelings you got going on in your head. All those emotions are there because you're not sure what you want to do. You ain't all the way in yet. You're not in or you're out. You're in limbo. And most eyes listen, for those of us who've been in limbo sucks.
That's the suck world. That's the suck world.
Listen, it's a neither world. You're in a neither world and you're unhappy.
There's no benefit on either side.
Happy. The good you do, you don't really get rewarded the way that you should, because you're straddling the fence. You only see the power of the Most High when you commit all the way and you don't turn back. There's 1,000 scriptures proving it. That's how that's the basis of having a better mental and spiritual health in what you do. Acceptance. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 5. Yeah.
James 4:5. Do you think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy?
And that's the problem. We might have the Bible, we got these scriptures, but we want what we want, man. And the challenge is, can I stop lusting to envy? Can I stop trying to pursue my personal agenda? And can I just find pleasure in serving? If I can find that mix, I won't be so mentally, spiritually, and emotionally exhausted and drained. Because so many times we exert so much energy being in the middle. We're exhausted. We burn 5 years like this. Not sure, unsure, undecided, uncommitted. You see the guy in college, I'm undecided. What's your class for then, G? What are you doing? How many years you got to be undecided for? Make a damn choice. You 3 years, I'm undecided.
I'm on the dean's list.
What are you doing? Get out of here, bro. Make a choice. Communications. What you want to do, bro? Engineering. Pick it. You want to be a poet? Do some writing, bro. Do something and get out of there. I'm wasting time. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your parents' money. Get in and get out, bro. Make a move. Move forward. The Most High is not with these people that want to play the middle. And that's where a lot of, I'm telling you, unhappiness and stress and people that didn't see the power of serving the Most High and they have bad stories about being in the truth, a lot of times they never went all the way in. They never committed. When you don't commit, you don't see the power. You don't see the value of investment until you invest. Then you're at peace. Then you're at peace up top. So once again, this is just another angle. There's different angles to depression. There's different angles to fighting these spirits. One of it is this acceptance of your life. Are you willing to accept that your life is about servitude? Or am I depressed because I want to be a thought and I want to be an Israelite sister at the same time?
That's a fact.
I don't understand. I want to be a thought and I want to be a sister. I'm so confused.
Sister thought.
There's a lot of issues. There's thought battles. There's thought battles. There's Israelite sister battles, and you want to combine the two. No, that's a real issues. It's just like brothers want to be Jake thugs and they want to be priests. Like, get out of here with this stuff.
I'm a
Scram,
thug priest.
Scram. You're not touching this podium. Anyway, we're gonna get
but you know what?
that's where the kind of like the critical side of me comes out. Like, come on, what are you doing, bro?
You know what is we
Who can get out the pot, man?
we have opposite desires.
Yeah.
And then I'm not where I want to be. That's a real thing.
Well, but that's where most depression kicks in.
I'm not where I want to be in my life.
But I don't want to put in the work to get to where I want to be.
I put the work in.
There goes the dilemma. No, it ain't the work. It's not necessary.
But it's not enough.
It's not enough. Or it's lame work.
Yeah, God.
You want to be a 30% effort and you want 100% caviar blessings. Israel's always the same damn thing, man.
100%
I want to give minimum effort, and I don't want to say, well, I'm not getting blessed by the Father. If you don't put the work and you don't dedicate enough, and then you're unhappy. I'm sad. But you don't want to do the work to get right. You see the dilemma? It's insanity.
That's madness.
That's mental illness. That's insanity.
Oh.
Verse 6. Wusa. Yeah. Continue.
But he giveth more grace, whenceforth he said, the Most High resisteth the proud.
He's not going to. You know what pride is? You know, the Most High says he hates a poor man that's proud. I'm not growing. I can't control my spirit. I can't control how I think. But I got an opinion. And I'm only going to change so much. I'm going to resist the proud. I'm not going to give the proud woman or man what they want unless they give me what I want. Because it's a prideful mindset is the mind that wants to sit back and pursue their own lust and their desires and do this knowledge thing at the same time. That's pride. He resists the pride. That's why you don't get what you want, and that's why you're unhappy, you're unfulfilled. Now you're sad, you're depressed, you're angry, you don't understand. What was that verse where it says the wicked man doesn't understand?
I love that. Daniel 12:10. I'll never forget it.
You got to pull it out.
I'll never forget it. That's one scripture I can never forget.
Daniel 12:10.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody sits back here when things ain't going their way, when the Most High is not blessing them.
This should be the epiphany verse.
I don't understand why the Most High is not blessing me. I don't know why the Most High has turned his back on me. I don't understand. I feel like I'm spending my wills in his work. I feel like I'm trying to do good and I'm not getting rewarded for this good that I'm doing. Read that.
Daniel chapter 12, verse 10. Many shall be purified.
Stop right there. So the purification comes to that water and that bread, right?
Yep.
That's that we read earlier. Isaiah 30 and 20.
Yep.
You're getting water, you're getting bread, you're getting affliction, you're getting fed, you're getting spirit fed. Because you haven't exercised these scriptures. So many should be purified, read.
And made white.
And choose that pure outlook we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Choose that pure perspective with the laws and commandments. Not just the laws, not hate everybody.
Yep.
Right? Read on.
And tried.
And try it, meaning test it. Because we will go through multiple tests. That's Satan coming at you, dealing with you. That's your family. That's your job. That's your personal situations in life. All those tests you're dealing with, the temptations you have. Fighting your lust. Read.
But the wicked shall do wickedly.
In the end. After all, in the end of this story, there's different stages. The purification stage, then the choosing the right thought stage, then the I'm getting tested stage. At the end of the test,
I got to make a choice.
At the end of the test, you're going to make a choice. God's going to make sure you make a choice. In the end of what?
But the wicked shall do wickedly.
The wicked shall do what?
Wicked.
Read on.
And none of the wicked shall understand.
And why am I wicked?
Well, you know why the wicked doesn't understand? Because they chose not to give their mind to proper counsel. You see how the battle is still up top.
I didn't get the understanding, huh?
I'm going to choose to be the victim, or I'm going to choose to sit back and listen. I'm going to choose to tell myself that I'm doing enough, I've done enough, and the Most High is unfair, or I got to choose to say I'm not doing enough, I have to be more accountable for my actions. What mindset do you choose when you're in the midst of your battle? To be more specific, what mindset do you choose when you first get shown by the Most High that you're not doing enough? What do you do when the Most High don't bless you in your endeavors? How do you respond to that? Is the key. When you don't get what you thought you were supposed to get, when you don't get and fulfill what your expectations were set up for, how do you carry yourself? Do you get mad? Do you get a chip on your shoulder? Do you disconnect yourself to the Most High? Do you do more of what you want to do? Or do you sit back here and make the necessary adjustments to get the Heavenly Father's attention? And this is what I was saying about you get the purification, you get the bread, you get the water, you get the affliction, you get the adversity, all to push you to make a choice. All the adversity, all the trauma, all the stress is forced to push you to make you choose the Heavenly Father's approach, or you're going to choose your approach. And that Most High is clear with that. And he's about purifying us.
He's about the strong decision.
Mm-hmm.
Right here it says, none of the wicked shall do what?
Understand.
I understand.
The wicked are not going to understand. And that's the number one thing they say after counsel. You know what?
You know why they don't understand?
I understand.
Because the counsel doesn't fit their lust. People don't understand because the advice doesn't fit what they want. Because people want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And I'm pushing for this cake and I want to eat it too at the same time. And the Most High ain't giving it to me. That's why I don't understand why the Most High is not blessing me.
I understand.
But I don't want to accept that I'm not getting what I want because I'm not giving him what he wants.
It's not making any sense. That's what we hear too. It's
We hear a whole lot of that.
This doesn't make...
Whole lot of NBA young boy.
It makes no sense. He's wicked.
I gotta tap into this, man. I gotta talk about that young stuff, man. Y'all sit back here and look at me like I'm old all the time, talking about old rappers and stuff. I gotta give y'all some new stuff, man.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't say cool. That was before my time, but keep going.
But it's not gonna make sense, and I'm not gonna understand because I didn't commit all the way.
Yeah.
You cannot see the benefit of the spiritual approach until you commit, finish the battle, and then see the Lord reward you after you did the right thing and you follow the counsel to its fullest extent and did the strong decision.
Yeah.
After you did the strong decision, there's going to be there's going to be an effect. There's an effect for the strong decision. And then you can look back and say, damn, I'm so glad I did that shit. Yeah. I'm really glad I listened to the counsel. Yeah. And then in that understanding, this is why the next battle I go through, I got to make the same type of choice. The strong decision.
I got to pull this verse. Go to Proverbs 13 and 12, and then we're going to go back to James. No, let James go. Go with that. Give me Proverbs 13 and 12. Because this, once again, we were talking about, I have my own lust, I have my own strong desire that I have in my head about what I want to do with my life. But then the Most High doesn't sit back here and give me what I want. Because what I want isn't aligned with what the Heavenly Father wants from me. Right? But this is going to kind of explain how this leads to mental illness and anger and frustration and depression. Give me that. It is Proverbs chapter 13. Proverbs 13 and 12.
Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick.
Deferred, we gotta get the deferred.
Exactly, deferred. I got deferred. It's just deferred just means well, I had it. Yeah. Oh man, I got rid of it. Anyway, deferred just means push back. Whatever your expectations are, whatever goals you might have had in your mind, whatever things you might have wanted out of the deal in your life gets pushed back, it makes the heart sick. This is what pisses a lot of people off in serving the Most High. I sit back here and I have expectations. I have expectations about what I want in my life in this realm. And when the Most High doesn't give me what I want when I want it, all of a sudden my outlook goes shacked up. Read it from the top again, 13 and 12.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick.
The mind sick. What does that mean when the mind is sick? I'm unhappy. I'm depressed. I'm down. I'm angry because I had an expectation and I didn't get what I expected or thought I should get. Then I'm pissed off at the Most High. Instead of sitting back here and realizing, you know what, man, you didn't put enough in to get what you wanted. And this is where depression kicks in. This is another form of how depression kicks in. I had my hopes up. I went to class every day and I expected this blessing to come to me. And the Most High didn't give it to me the way I wanted. I'm upset, I'm down, I'm pissed. Now I got a decision to make. Am I going to sit back here and go back to work and restart and make the changes I have to make so I can get the blessing? Or do I get pissed off and I start sinning and I regress because I got the spirit of Cain in me? Because I was mad that my efforts weren't accepted. So once again, we're showing elements and scenarios about how to deal with these letdowns so we can stay mentally sharp, mentally strong, mentally and spiritually on point. Okay?
And stay in reality too.
Exactly.
Because if I can be honest with myself and I'm honest with my counselors, I know I'm making mistakes, I know I'm slipping. If you're honest with yourself, you know you're slipping, it's like, okay, cool, I know I'm slipping. At least I have an answer. The answer is just, okay, get on top of my game.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get angry and I flip out and I say it's not me, then I really don't have an answer what I got to do to get myself back on course. I don't have an answer. Because the answers, the reason why I'm on this situation, in these shoes or in this scenario, is because of somebody else. Well, then you can never solve it because another person can't change it for you. It's you.
Yeah. And the reality is the reason the Most High defers the blessing is because you were double-minded. The reason the Most High defers the blessing or pushes the blessing back is because you didn't purify enough of what's inside of you to earn it.
Double agendas.
Double agendas. That's what double-minded is. I have multiple desires. My intentions aren't pure. And because your intentions are pure, and because you either your intentions are impure or you haven't made the necessary changes in you to earn what you wanted to get. But what ends up happening is it takes brothers and sisters sometimes months to recover from their hopes being deferred. He didn't say Most High isn't going to give it to you at all. He just said, man, you got to get it pushed back. What I expect for you has to go back a few more months, maybe a year, because you're not ready for it. Because the Most High, He's showing you how He rates us. He rates us and He determines the blessings He gives us based upon what?
Come.
Our actions, our sacrifice, the purity of thoughts, the purity of intentions, the dedication.
Spiritual work ethic.
The spiritual work ethic, and He'll give it to you if you earn it. If you don't, you're not getting it. And I have to accept the consequences of not getting what I want. Can I go back to work? Can I go back and sacrifice? Can I go back and do the right things?
Cain could have did it.
Listen, but Cain he chose not to. He's like,
Cain was skillful. He was a skillful dude.
But his heart wasn't right. And the thing is, a lot of times, we read in Ezekiel chapter 33 and 31, our heart is more focused on covetousness than anything. This is what we do. We try to do things the spiritual way. We try to be in order spiritually to get a blessing, and we don't get it. So what do we do next? I'm going to get my blessing the carnal way.
Yep.
I'm going to go a different way to get what I want in the carnal. Because the Most High didn't accept me and my offering in the spiritual, I'm going to go carnal.
That's right.
And that's you spitting on the Most High. I'm supposed to sit back here and go back and reinvest more spiritually to get the spiritual blessing versus going and taking matters into my own hands. That was what that's what Eve did in the garden. She already had the access to the Most High. She knew what she had to do to get blessed. But what did she do? She sat back here and took matters into her own hands to get what she wanted, how she wanted to get. And it was the carnal way. And everything in your life, you can take the spiritual pursuit of it or the carnal pursuit of it. Which pursuit do you choose? The spiritual pursuit is going to force you to keep giving, and you might get turned down a few times. You might not get what you want the first, second, or third time, but you keep working at it because that spiritual blessing will last 10 times longer than the carnal pursuit you choose to find that peace of mind in your life. And this is why the Most High keeps drawing things out, and He creates this enmity and this war in between yourself because He keeps trying to see, are you going to choose the spirit or the flesh? The spirit or the flesh? Which one are you going to choose? And He forces us to make that final choice. What path am I going to take? What path am I going to commit myself to? Okay, let this go and go to James 1 and 8 and then Luke 16 and 13. James 1 and 8. Luke 16 and 13.
James chapter 1 verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
That double-minded man, that person who has double agendas is always going to be unstable mentally. That's my point. He's going to be always mentally unstable. Erratic, bipolar, up and down, high, low, emotional.
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent, emotional. Because I have double desires, man. I'm serving the Most High, but I want the flesh too. And I'm trying to accommodate both. I'm trying to serve two masters. And that's what Luke 16 and 13 talks about. I'm trying to serve two agendas. And it's exhausting serving two agendas. And you're not going to get anything that you want serving two agendas. Either you might as well take the agenda in the world or take the spiritual agenda. Stop trying to fit both in. All I wanted was that in verse 8. Double-minded man, someone hates. Give me Luke 16.
Luke 16 and 3. Then the steward said within...
No, it's 16 and 13, sir.
16 and 13. Come. Luke 16 and 13. No servant can serve two masters.
No servant can serve two masters. Read on.
For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
And this is the process. The Most High makes it to where he doesn't give you anything of what you want when you're serving two masters. What he's doing, he forces you to choose one to pursue what you really want. Because if I got the flesh that I'm trying to maintain, my happiness in the flesh and my happiness in the spirit, what he shows you is you're not going to be happy with two agendas. So you got to choose, am I going to sit back here and choose the spiritual agenda or this carnal agenda? And every time the Most High denies you, doesn't give you what you want, makes you unhappy, is forcing you to make a what? A choice. Am I going to choose the world's happiness or spiritual happiness? And this is how he works us. So the conditions of the battle that he sets us in pushes us to the brink of insanity, pushes us to the brink of madness, unhappiness, deep sadness, deep depression. But it's all that is the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, because it's necessary to weed out who's real and to reveal who's not, or to bring out who's real and to expose who's not.
That's what the word holy means. The word holy means true and sincere.
Exactly.
It means separate, yes. Also means true, and it means sincere. So it's supposed to, the holy word is going to separate you from those old desires and those old personalities.
But he's going to force you to sit. He's going to force you into a depression, into sadness, into stress. I've seen it. Sometimes it's kind of like that indicator let you know somebody might be bouncing when they're always unhappy, they're sad, they're moping around, they're like snuffleupagus.
I housed you in 3 months.
Hey, bird, I'm here suffering again.
For the
Having
Lord,
a bad day in Christ. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Sigh. You know what I mean? There's not a snuffleupagus is acting the truth. I've seen them for 25 years. They be walking with their shoulders down. They're unhappy. They're sad. Like, why are you so? What's wrong? Nothing.
Thinking what I want.
Nothing. I want the flesh, and I'm not getting the flesh.
Ain't no flesh.
So every day I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm not getting what I want. It's forcing your people to make a choice. Choose ye this day life or death, the world's way of life or the spirit's way of life. And that's where that pressure and that anxiety kicks in. A lot of times you're stressed and you're unhappy because you just ain't made a choice. You ain't picked a side yet. Pick a side and accept the side you choose. And that's really what you're dealing with. If you do that, you'll have more peace of mind. That's why Christ said in St. John 16:33, choose ye this day life or death. No, I'm sorry. He said, in me you'll have peace. In the world you have tribulation. Pick your side, make your choice, move forward. Everything's going to be okay after that. But when you're in that middle, life is hell. And all I'm explaining is depression and sadness in this realm. Because I've seen a lot of people unhappy in this realm because they just haven't accepted their life. They haven't accepted the trade-off. He that loses life for my name's sake shall find it. He that finds his life shall lose it. He's showing you got to make a choice. And you can't play the middle. Okay. Luke 16. Let's go to Matthew. Did I finish 16 and 33?
You got the last line.
Finish the last line off, sir. Huh?
16 and 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, finish that. You're 16 and 13.
Ye cannot serve the Most High and Mammon.
You can't serve pleasing the Most High. Mammon just means money or your desires, man.
Yeah.
The pursuit of happiness. You're going to either pursue the happiness of the Heavenly Father. Because the thing is this. If I choose what makes the Most High happy, guess what has to happen?
You got to die.
No. Yeah. But you know what you dying also means? My likes have to change.
There you go.
I have to start liking the things the Most High likes.
Better way to put it.
And in the process of me liking the things that the Most High likes, I also have to start hating the things that I used to like. And that's the trade-off. The things that I used to be into, I have to finally accept that I don't like those things anymore. And I have to start falling in love with the things that makes the Most High happy. And that's the work. I had a word. I had a stinking. Here it is. Okay, it's part of the class. Matter of fact, I got to pull this verse now because I ain't gonna get to it. I already know. I'm gonna be pissed. Go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 3 through 6. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha chapter 27, verse 3 through 6.
27.
Yep. Ecclesiasticus.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
I'm spitting like crazy, man.
Spitting fire.
No, I'm talking about literal
Little spits.
Golly, man.
All over the
I
equipment.
know y'all seen like, bloop, 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 bloop. I'm like, golly, bro. Okay.
You ready?
Okay.
27 and what?
27 verse 3 through 6.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown.
Now, the truth is this. I'm not going to have time to get to the point where this verse was going to hit the hardest. But I wanted to bring this out. It says, unless a man holds himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house is his spiritual house. And your house is going to be overthrown by different thoughts, different impulses, different desires, different intentions. You have to look at your mind, your thinking as a spiritual house. And it said, if you better hold diligent in the fear of the Lord. That means I have to sit back here and make a conscientious choice to question and attack every thought that enters into my head. If I don't attack every thought or challenge every thought, my house can be overthrown. It can be overthrown by letting in a depressing thought, letting in a sad thought, letting in an angry thought, a hateful thought, letting in a lustful thought. All it takes is one thought. All it takes is one impulse to start overflowing you. Have you ever like had one thought pop and it turns to 15 to 20 and you just cannot control the onslaught of emotions you got on you? Has anybody experienced that? I know I'm not the only person who's thought that before or had that happen. Everybody want to be quiet now, huh?
You want to raise your hand?
Nah, everybody like, I'm looking around, everybody like this.
Maybe someone else.
Anyway, it's all good.
My
point is I know it's the truth because everybody fights that. And he's saying, unless a person is diligent to the maintenancing of your thoughts, your spiritual house will be overthrown. And this is how the insanity starts. This is how all the uncontrollable feelings and emotions start kicking in. You start losing control of yourself. It starts with the entertaining of thoughts. Let's keep going.
Come.
As when one sifteth with a sieve, the refuse remaineth, so the filth of man in his talk.
Keep going.
The furnace proveth the potter's vessel, so the trial of a man is in his reasoning.
He says the furnace proves the potter's vessel. The furnace is the heat. It's how the clay is baked. So the temperature of the heat will actually prove how well you made your pot, right? So man, a crappy pot is going to crack in the oven, okay? I don't know if you all did little pottery things when you guys were younger, but if you did a crap job, it's going to crack under the heat. But if you did a good job and you balance it out, it'll stay in there. It will stand the heat. He said the trial of a man is in his reasoning. The definition of reasoning is the action of thinking. A lot of times people don't look at thinking as an action, but it's an action. And how well you choose to control what thoughts you entertain and not will determine how strong and how consistent you can be in your life. I don't think we take into account how important it is to challenge and choose which thoughts you want to give your mind to and to discard and throw away thoughts that aren't beneficial to you. I don't think we look at that action as important as it really is. You have to really sit back here and dedicate to choosing not to think negative, choosing not to hold on to this thought, to let this thought go and not make this one impulse become 3 and 4 and 5 thoughts. Because once you start having that one impulse that pops into you, once it becomes 5 to 7 thoughts, it's a full-blown damn takeover. Think about thoughts. Like, you ever see those movies like those war movies, whether it's Lord of the Rings,
Gremlins,
where all these not Gremlins. I want to use some kind of war scenarios where like the warriors sit back here and break down. I hated Gremlins, but I hated them nasty little.
They fed them though.
It was the worst. No, it was the worst, bro. But I look at it like those warriors that they break down that wall and that gate, and you sit back, you're trying to fortify the gate, and they break through it anyway. And then once they're in, what do? You in trouble. Once they get in that damn gate, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
That fortification is broke down. All hell breaks loose. You're gonna probably die. But that's how you. What's that? That's how you have to take your thinking and your choice of your thoughts. Because a thought is like those 1,000 men trying to break into your house and invade. And once they get in, they're in. It's harder to get them out than to get them in. And a lot of times, by the time they're in, you're going to sin. And the only thing that makes them leave is that you're guilty. You feel guilty and you hit rock bottom. Now you want to sit back. Get out of here, guys. Get out of here. You guys got to go shoot.
Why? Why, bro? You called me here.
And that's the point. I'm going to that part later, but it's the truth. You sit back here and brought these niggas in. Like, y'all got to get out of here now. Get this car.
You're very bad. You're very, very bad.
Like, but you brought him in. You opened the door for him. I don't understand how all these thoughts is on me. You let them, you play with the spirits, and then when they start taking over, hanging out, sitting on your couch, on your white couch, kicking their dirty shoes on your couch,
bad sitters.
messing up your house, messing your carpet up, eating all your food. Now you want to be upset. That's what I'm saying. F your couch, Charlie Murphy. They banging his jacket. Like, well, I would have punched him too. My white sofa. He put his nasty shoes on there. That's fighting stuff. We boxing. Anyway, the point is when you let those, this is how you have to visualize allowing negative thoughts into your spirit, allowing those negative impulses in your spirit. You're opening these gates. You're opening that damn trap door and letting all this filth into your damn building. And now you're tripping. He says the test or the trial is a test. The test of how strong you are spiritually is how proactive you are in fighting back mentally. The problem with Israel don't look at their spiritual battle like it's a battle of mind, of wits,
will,
and mind. What we do is let's pray. Oh my Lord.
Jesus. Yeah.
We want to sing. We want something out of the damn sky to fall out. We're looking for Jesus to come out of the sky to fix our problems versus using the scriptures to get in your head and fight.
That's Jesus. That's really Christ.
That's Christ.
He's the scriptures.
And I'm listen. We're going to go back to this verse. I want to go to this real quick. It is in... Damn it. I got to go here. I have to. Matthew 12 and 39. Luke 11 and 29. Matthew 12 and 39. Luke 11 and 29. That was a song, though, man. I was hyped. Like, Gloria, I was like, let's go to war now. I'm ready. Let's go. When he said, I love the 54th, I was like, bro, let's do it. Huh? Anyway, that was just me. Matthew 12 and 39.
But he answered and said unto them, an evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign.
The evil and adulterous generation seeks a sign. A wicked person is looking for my problems to get solved out the sky. A wicked person is looking for a feeling to combat a feeling. A spiritual person has to fight with the reasoning, the action of thinking. This is what kills Israel all the time. A wicked generation seeks a sign. I got to see something and touch something before I make a change. A spiritually minded person takes these scriptures and applies these scriptures and starts to fight his or her battle in their mind. The problem is the Jews as a whole don't like to think. We want something out the sky to solve our battles versus use our damn noggin and choose what thoughts and feelings to give ourselves to and which one's not. You have to choose, no, that's not going to work for me. That thinking is going to destroy me. I can't give myself to that selfish impulse. I can't give myself to talking about feeling like being lonely. You can't think about being lonely. If you don't got a wife or a husband, thinking lonely thoughts is going to get you in a trick bag. For those who don't have a husband or wife, if you're thinking about how lonely you are in trouble. If I'm angry and I have a short fuse, I can't feed an angry mindset. If I get quickly sad and down about what's not in front of me, I can't feed that thought.
And the music too.
Listen,
they play music all day.
If you're feeling down, you better not play no damn
Genuine.
No, not Genuine. He's not. No, you can't play no damn Bribe Me Night. If you're feeling down, bro, and you playing some Bribe Me Night, it's over, bro. It's over. Listen, man. Listen. If I ever cry your mind anytime, listen, man, you gone, bro. You done. You can't listen to me. You said what? Listen, you done. The point is this: you have to know what's evil for your spirit and not give unto it. Right? And it's a mental battle. The trial is in how well you maneuver through these thoughts and impulses that you want. Listen, people that deal with being sad, they like being sad. You ever notice that?
It's cool. I think it's
people
cool.
that are sad, that have depression issues, they actually feel comfortable when they're feeling sad.
In the sickness.
They're actually comfortable in that vomit. It's the truth. I'm just sad. But you're used to it. You're actually better feeling sad and away from people than actually fighting and being around people.
That's not what I'm used
to. For those of us who know, they know. And that's the battle.
It's like they're scared of being happy. They don't like the feeling of going back to sad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I just stay sad.
Yeah, it's easy to know you here than go out here and get to put the trick bag. You go back here. Exactly. That's the insanity that people roll in. But once again, he's telling you the way to get through these things is by knowing what impulse is not good for you and not to feed it. I have to choose not to play with that emotion. Choose not to play with this mindset. It's cancer to you. Because once you feed it, your whole mindset is warped. So he's telling you, but an evil generation seeks this sign. Mm-hmm. I'd rather seek a sign than fight me. I'd rather sit back here and seek a sign, look for something, a sign out in the world, than fight my mind and my thoughts. Did it finish that verse in Matthew?
No.
Read on.
And there shall no sign be given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonah.
Mm-hmm. That was 12 and what?
That was 12 and 39.
Okay, let that go and give me Luke 11 and 29.
Luke 11 and 29.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, read that.
Luke 11 and 29. And when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, this is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it, but the sign of Jonas the prophet.
I'm just trying to show that a wicked generation seeks a sign, right? Now give me 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 22.
1 Corinthians.
Hold on one second, sir. Hold on a second. Hey, I need you to put your thing on mute, sir. Nahar, put it on mute, sir. Thank you.
1 Corinthians 1 and 22. For the Jews require a sign.
Okay, hold on. Shoot, I'm trying to get this screen taken care of. Give me there it goes. Everything's gonna be okay now. So, okay, say that again.
1 Corinthians 1 and 22. For the Jews require a sign.
The Jews require a sign. But he said a wicked generation seeks a sign. That's what kills us. Mm-hmm. Instead of fighting our thoughts, fighting our emotions, choosing what thoughts and emotions to give ourselves to and which ones not, we look for a sign to determine if this is the right thing to do. And he shows that's the nature of us is opposite of actually having to fix our problems. Read on.
And the Greeks seek after wisdom.
Listen, the damn white man understands they got to sit back here and work on themselves better than we do. They at least use wisdom. We're sitting back here looking at the damn signs, the clouds.
They study out.
Yeah.
Israel don't study.
That's the point.
And they wonder why they're to and fro by every wind of doctrine. If yes, ma'am.
We don't have to read books. You know what the signs are? It's we're looking for like a change in our condition versus actually making sure by choosing the thoughts and making the right decisions will change our condition. It's almost like people will be looking for like their conditions to change to determine if they're doing right.
It's being religious.
It's being religious.
Israel is hyper religious. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, or coming to class. People think coming to class that the spirit's going to fall through osmosis and your problems are going to get solved because you're in class. Class is a tool that you use to apply the scriptures to fight what's inside of you so that your life can be better. You have to take the lessons and the examples and the strength from here and bring it home and apply it. We don't do it. What we do is we jump from energy to energy.
Yep.
Monday energy in class, I'll use that energy in class to get me to Wednesday. I'll use the energy in class on Wednesday to get me to Friday. Energy on Friday to get me to Saturday. Then I'm on low, on E, on Sunday. Then I get my energy back up on Monday. You get my point? We'll look for energy versus taking the information and applying it every day. That makes sense? What you gonna say?
I was gonna say that sign is we wait for extreme circumstances to happen that are external. I'm waiting for a real the post lock on my door. Now I gotta stop.
Yeah, I gotta stop. Yeah, that's the truth.
Cops got me locked up.
Like Akon.
Yeah.
Now the spirit's telling me something. What you mean?
I was giving counsel.
The spirit's telling you messed up.
I was giving counsel for 3 months about how to diffuse violent circumstances in my house. Yeah. I've been giving 3 months of counsel. But now that the popo's at the door, I'm getting locked up, it's affecting my job life. That situation, that physical situation, now I got to make a change because I'm about to lose my job or my house is about to split. That's what we do as Israelites. We wait for physical scenarios.
The loss to happen. Now I want to talk.
Basically waiting for something extreme to happen.
Yeah, because Israel is full of drama.
Jonah had to get ate by the whale for 3 days.
Swallow.
He's like, oh my God, it's day 3. I'm going to die. He's waiting for that. Then he gets vomited out on the seashore. Now I'm going to go teach. Now I'm going to go do my job. I'm going to go be spiritual.
It takes traumatic scenarios to get Israel to start taking life serious.
Con.
You can sit back and counsel a person for weeks and weeks and months at a time until the sky's falling. That's when they want to get right. But the problem is you lose so much time in that scenario. You lose a lot of time when you just fight and have to hit rock bottom before you change. You lose years. Versus taking counsel and taking instruction and finding value and taking these scriptures and actually using it to fight your battle. So back to the point in Ecclesiastes 27 is that, unless a person holds himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, their house shall be overthrown. And then it talks about the trial of a person is in his reasoning. And once again, that reasoning is the action of thinking. Can I take this thinking and create real significant decisions from choosing to entertain this thought, choosing not to entertain this thought, and so forth and so on? What you can do is go to Philippians 4 and 8 real quick. Philippians 4 and 8. Philippians 4 and 8.
4 and verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things.
So the choice is this. If you want to keep a positive mindset, if you want to keep from being up and down stability-wise and erratic mentally, I have to choose to think on these positive concepts. If it's true, if it's positive, if it's spiritual, if it's honest, if it's a good report or just or pure or lovely or good or anything virtuous, hold on to those concepts, and I have to choose not to give myself to to the thousands of other negative thoughts that pop in our head.
So if this is not benefiting my spirit, I should cut off that situation.
Exactly. I have to choose not to give in to my impulses. It's a choice. And how well I choose to control these emotions, to give in to these positive thoughts, choose to stonewall and block this emotion and feeling, give myself to this strong thinking. How well you navigate through that will determine how consistent you are in your life, how strong you are in your life, how potent you are in serving the Heavenly Father. Does that make sense? Listen, it's getting late, man.
Oh, one more.
I got a whole bunch of damn.
I know.
I'm just trying to.
You still on Ecclesiastes too.
Yeah, let's finish Ecclesiastes 27. We're almost done with that, though. No, that's all I wanted from there. It was really verse 5. That was what I wanted.
Okay.
It was verse 5. I know there was verse 6, but I really don't want that. I don't need that. You want to pull something?
No, bro.
Okay.
I just want to hear what people thought, because for me it's like, you know, I got
a verse. Let's go to Matthew 6 and 21. Matthew 6 and 21 through 24. Matthew 6 and 21 through 24. I might slide a few more in, man. Matthew 6 and 21 through 24.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. For where your treasure is, there your heart be also.
That's the main
The
point.
Mosiah is saying, listen, man, he's really trying to find out what you treasure the most. Do I treasure living a spiritual life, or do I treasure being in the flesh? And all the stress and the pressure and the anxiety is forcing you to make that choice. Where is your heart at? Where do you really want to be? Do you really want to be here giving everything you got? Or do you want to sit back here and do your thing in the world? And everybody that's wrestling in the middle, life is going to be uncomfortable until you make the choice. Read on.
The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light.
If your
Consistent
eye
choices.
is single, one decision. If I make that choice not to live a double life, and I choose to be strong in Christ, he said your whole body will be full of light. But your whole body will be full of life once you finally make the decision to commit to him 100%. Read on.
Verse 23, but if thy eye be evil,
But if I choose to give myself to the flesh,
Double agendas.
to the anger,
Yeah.
to the double agendas, read on.
thy whole body shall be full of darkness. And therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?
He's trying to, and this is what the Mosiah is trying to pull you into a direction. All the stress, all the frustration, the anxiety, he's trying to pull you to choose light or darkness. Life is going to be uncomfortable until you make the choice yourself. Read on.
No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve the Most High and Mammon.
And then this is what the Mosiah was saying. You got to make a choice. Go to Luke chapter 11, verse 21. Luke 11 and 21. I'm going to go to 2 or 3 more and I'm going to shut it down. Luke 11 and 21.
Luke 11 and 21. So is he that layeth up treasures for himself, and is
No,
not
it's Luke.
rich.
It's Luke 11 and 21.
Oh, Slock, yeah, that's Luke 12. Luke 11 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
When a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace.
He says, when a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace. Read on.
But when a stronger than he shall come upon him and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor wherein he trusted, and divideth his spoils.
So this is an example of your thinking. The strong man is supposed to be the part of you that holds on to the right thoughts, the right mindset, the right perspective. You can't let a stronger influence overcome and dominate your spiritual house. And this is what's being explained. You have to look at it with the strong man or the stronger influence trying to break in and take over my spiritual house that's put together and ordered. Your spiritual house is put together and ordered when you're doing the right thing, you're in control of your thoughts, you're at peace with your life, You're at peace with the direction you're taking. And then the stronger man, which is pride, envy, doubt, selfishness, depression, negative outlook wants to kick in and kick in those doors. Are you going to let that outside influence dominate you? You're going to let that outside influence break in. It's your choice. Am I studying? Am I counseling? Am I going to people who can keep me strong? You ever see those damn zombie movies? And you got to sit back here and get all this damn wood. You got to sit back here and border up all the windows so they don't break through the windows.
God.
You ever see Night of the Living Dead?
That's real.
It was the greatest. It was so black and white, but it was great. They couldn't get through the door, so they tried to get through the glass. The black guy and the racist white guy, and they were sitting back here trying to sit back here and border all the windows up. Any weak spots, these damn zombies just kept beating on it until it broke. I'm painting this ridiculous story to kind of explain about how a spiritual battle really is. Scripture says, resist the devil and he shall flee from you. It didn't say he wouldn't come back. You have to weather the storm into the next wave, into the next fight, into the next ambush. Are my windows boarded up? Are there any ways of entry that these spirits can get in? Am I allowing any of these influences to get into my house? It's the strong man versus the stronger man. That's the battle. Read on.
He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man.
And this is talking about when you fight your battles and you cast out the negative in you, the pride, the selfishness, the lust, whether you might have hit rock bottom or you're down or you're spiritually up at this time, and you cast out that evil spirit, that unclean spirit, right? Read on.
He walketh through dry places, seeking rest.
This is literally how the spiritual realm goes. When we sit back here and say spirits, we're talking about negative thoughts, negative impulses, negative mindset. When you sit back and eradicate negative out of your mind and out of your spirit, that spirit goes somewhere else. You're dealing with a spiritual battle. Hold this real quick. We're going back to here. I need you guys to go to Ephesians 6, verse 1 and 2. I promise I won't be long. Ephesians 6, verse 1 and 2. Then we'll go back to this next verse in Luke. Ephesians 6, verse 1 and 2.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Reads.
No, did I say Ephesians?
Done.
Yeah.
It's 12, I mean. It's 6 and 12. It's not 1 and 2.
Wrestle on a okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. My fault.
All right, put it in here too.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
A lot of times we think our battle is physical, but our battle is spiritual. Read on.
But against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
The battles we fight are spiritual. These thoughts that we have, they're really spirits. We're fighting literal spirits. So when I have a strong impulse to do something, it's a spirit that's riding on me. That's why we say it's a spirit on me. Spirit of anger, spirit of sadness, spirit of lust, spirit of pride is riding me. And the spirit is manifested through how dominant the thoughts are to me. And this is what the spiritual battle is. Can I sit back here and control these thoughts, control these spirits, so I can control my domain versus these spirits controlling me, these influences controlling me? Now with that knowledge, we go back to Luke, verse 11 and 24.
Top.
Yep, let's up.
All right.
Luke 11 and 24. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places.
When this negative spirit is cast out or leaves a man, that negative spirit is in the fourth dimension of the spiritual realm, looking for places to find comfort in. Read on.
For a vessel.
Yeah, read on.
For a body to be in. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
He walketh through dry places, seeking rest. And finding none, he said, I will return unto my house whence I came out.
When it really comes down to it, this spirit is like, let me go back to my previous inhabited place and cozy back up at the crib again. And that's why I said you got to think of this battle and these spirits as there's a negative presence trying to get back into your house. And you can't let that negative presence in. Read on.
And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished.
You swept and garnished it and cleaned it because you clean out all those negative thoughts and you replace it with spiritual thoughts, positive thoughts like you just read in Philippians 4 and 8. Read on.
Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself.
And what ends up happening is that spirit that wants back in gets 7 is the number of completion. So that spirit gets a complete amount of spirits that was greater and stronger than him to re-inhabit your house. And in a lot of battles we fight, we fight familiar spirits.
Yep.
Spirits that was passed down from generation to generation. I know people who deal with depression. Their father had depression. Their mother dealt with depression. If it's lust was strong in the father's side, the mother's side. All these things are passed down from generation to generation. Traits, characteristics, things that your flesh and your spirit cleave to. The point is, these battles that we fight come and go, come and go, come and go. And this is what he's explaining. This is what happens in your battle. When you get strong, you get spiritual, you can eradicate these thoughts. But they're coming back. And they're coming back with thoughts that are 7 times greater than the last set of spirits that was coming at you. Can you withstand these spirits? Can you withstand these emotions, these impulses, these thoughts? Can you fight it off, or are you going to let it in? Read on.
It says, I will return into the house which I came out. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished.
Mm-hmm.
Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits, more wicked than himself. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
Exactly. And what ends up happening is then you have your mind is completely dominated by different thoughts, different emotions, stronger than the past. Then you got to fight that much harder to get those spirits off of you and restart.
That mixed
and that
wine.
cycle just keeps going back over and over again. It's that mixed wine, mixed influence, strong influence to take you a certain direction you weren't supposed to go. Like I said, we can go longer, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we understand and we clarify and we paint the spiritual battle that starts to spawn and bring out all the depression and the emotion and the emotional mood swings and the ups and the downs and the highs and lows. And the way we can stay in the middle, the way we can stay neutral, is to not let these thoughts, these spirits, these impulses invade.
Yeah.
And once again, it goes back to the trial of man is in his reasoning. Your test is in how you apply the action of thinking, apply the action of applying these scriptures in your life.
Biblical
Am I
thinking.
choosing to use spiritual strategies to maintain leverage and strength in my life, in my spiritual house?
Come.
Are there any questions? Listen, and with that, we're going to shut it down, Israel. I love y'all, and I Shams want to be here on Shams want we got to be here on Sunday. I mean, Wednesday, and we'll be ready to go. Shalom, everybody. Take care.
Shalom.